Good morning. It's Sunday morning today, and welcome to the weekend edition. We're gonna have some fun today. We got some lovely, lovely, great guests. Sue Ann Ellen. I always want to say Sue Ellen because of her name. Sue Ann Ellen is here. Welcome back. It's been a while.
Thank you, Joseph. I've missed you.
I thought you had quit on us.
I had not quit on you at all. It's good to be back with the family and on a Sunday morning. So.
All right, cool. So we're gonna whip up some sweet stuff.
We're gonna whip up sweet stuff for you all morning long.
So this is one of those Sundays where, you know, like sometimes you wake up and you think, should I have a healthy meal? No, we're gonna go ham. We're gonna spoil ourselves today with lots of candy treats.
Why not?
All right. And then we've got the lovely Maleh here, soul singer extraordinaire. Welcome.
It's so exciting to be here. I've been watching the show and I'm just happy to be part of it today.
Well,
so
we're glad you could join us. Yeah. And you're gonna be blessing us with some new music?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
From my album, You Make My Heart Go. So.
What's the first song you're gonna give us?
Kimo Afrika.
Kimo Afrika.
Yes. And I think that says it all.
And just to clarify, Maleh is not like some French Moroccan name, right? It's short for...
It's short for Maleh.
Maleh.
Yeah, and you know, my friends call me Maleh.
Yeah.
But when I was introduced on radio, a lot of the presenters would say Maleh.
Yeah.
And it just kind of stuck, so it's
right. Well, you look like a Maleh. So I think you go ahead and get to the mic and get ready to give it to us. Khanyi, that's what's happening here in the kitchen. What's going on over there in the dining room?
I see you guys looking good in your salmon, both of you with Maleh, as the people would say. Welcome to it, guys. This is the weekend edition. I'm Khanyi Mbau, the girl. Oh, it's Sunday. Let's not even go there. Let's not even say the girl that you what. Bring your spirit, bring yourself, bring your mind, because the show is jam-packed. But I'm never alone at the table. I'm sitting with Maurice. You know what? Say your own names, actually.
Timothy Maurice.
Yes. Which was supposed to,
And Allegro Dikwanyane.
You're 15, right?
No, I'm 26.
She's the youngest guest we've ever had 26. on the show.
We're doing a mentoring session.
Yes.
You're mentoring us.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome to the show, guys. But before we start everything, remember that your voice can only be heard on social media. It is the Weekend Edition on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, The Weekend on 3. And the hashtag to make it sit is The Weekend Edition. But before we start the show, let's have a great song by Maleh. Let's go.
Chebe, Kimo Africa, hey, Kimo Hai, Mutan Chebe, le mala, Kilikaku, Kimo Africa, hey, Kimo Hai, Mutan Chebe, le mala, Kilakata, Huakalili Melame, La Halifatlinka Mohalona. Kale kota la tsumole di pale tentle tsinka tuto le bohlale tsantuta mamela melody tsantuta ka matla le bofokodi tsantuta mamelo le tshwarelo tsantuta ka thato le hlompho setso sanle ha botubana mboya pina la fila la ntokola so baitse motho mo tshare mone hlompo ba re mo hatel pata botle ba hae mothetse a keke a o bona motho bua ka lele melame le ha le fatselo a mohalona o ba rute mamelo le tshwarelo o ba rute ka thato le hlompho setso saneha botubana boya pina la fihla la ntokola Mpoya pina la fihla la ntokola Kemo Africa
That's how we get it started, man. Make sure you stick around all morning long. We got lots of treats for you. This is the Weekend Edition. Hashtag the Weekend Edition all over social media. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Weekend Edition. We're on the couch now. This guy who's joining us now, I don't know, it's our first time on TV ever, yet we've been working together.
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday. Prior to that, every day.
Every day.
Over like the past 5-6 year period.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Weekend Edition, Mr. Timothy Maurice.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Brand, personal, what is it? Personal brand philosopher extraordinaire. That's what you are. That's what he does.
That's a crazy
And he's
intro.
an author.
And he's an
That's a
author.
crazy intro.
Yeah.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
He's got his own TV show. He's a
Radio
best-selling author.
Yes.
He's got his own radio show.
He's built
King of
brands.
all media, huh?
And he's built brands and built very strong brands.
From Bonang to Khanyi. Oh.
Oh my!
Did I just say
I
that
had
in one
nothing to do with
sentence?
Banana, nothing to do with Khanyi.
You did, but you used to mentor her.
No, you used to give me a pep talk and mentor me as
Yeah,
well.
I mean, and you
From
know,
time to
I've had a
time.
meeting with a number of people. That doesn't mean I really.
Oh, you didn't. So you
Yeah,
didn't mentor Queen Bee? No, not. He's like, okay.
I want to take credit for that powerful brand. I mean, there's a lot of people involved, I'm sure.
You know, it brings me great joy to have Timothy on this show because when the first show flighted,
I heard.
he made fun of me on radio. He was like, Joe, what is this cooking and decoration
And
stuff you're doing
gardening,
and
what's
gardening? And he was laughing in my face.
Yes.
Now he's here.
I gotta tell you, I'm really impressed with this whole thing. Like, honestly, I think you guys are the first male-female black combo to do a cooking show. It's impressive.
See, this is the. All right. We'll start
It's
talking
very
about his
impressive.
stuff. So, Tim, you do quite a number of things, right? You write, you do your TV show, you've got your radio, and what's most important is people can connect with you. All of the activities that you're involved in, they can connect with you on your website, right? They
Sure.
can access pretty much all of that stuff at timothymaurice.com, correct?
Yeah.
All right, let's first start with your
But
book.
are you a life coach?
No.
He's not a
Okay.
life coach. He's a personal brand philosopher.
Yeah, but every time he speaks, I mean, especially on your show, when he
Yeah.
speaks, he gives you something to
Life
just, yeah.
coach-esque lessons.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, congrats on your new book, Personal Brand Intelligence, PBQ. I understand that it's a super, super, super bestseller. Is this probably, of the 5 books you've released, 5 books, right? Four. Is this your fastest and best-selling effort?
This book, it's built on sort of, each book has been a continuation.
Yeah.
And this one has been a pleasant surprise because, publishing a book, like publishing music or, it's a collaboration. You've got editing team, you've got publishing, you've got marketing.
Distribution.
So I think we got the formula right with this one. Publishing with Dollar Media, they've launched a new publishing house. They already have sort of credibility. So in fact, there are people who follow publishers and look for what they put out. So that's been really interesting for me.
So publishers are sort of like curators as well.
Exactly, and so
Yeah.
people trust publishers. They trust publishing houses. I mean, my first book I self-published. My second book I went with a really large sort of international publisher. And I see that people relate to the publisher as much as they do the author.
Yes.
So it's been a really wonderful experience working with this publisher.
Yeah. So
But how much money must a person have to publish their own book?
you can do it with nothing.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah?
Yeah.
You can get sponsorship, just the same way people sponsor.
Trying to publish
influencers.
another book?
No, because the thing is, people always come up to me and say, I've got this great book, Khanyi, but I don't have money to publish it. I've written such a great book, but please help me. So how much is it?
Can I break it down?
Yeah, what's the process?
Can I break it down?
Because I know someone's watching now and they're thinking, gosh, I've also got a book. How?
Yeah, so if you don't want to go through the formal publishing process, like 50 Shades of Grey, she was turned down a couple hundred times before a publisher came on board.
Yeah.
But she eventually self-published, and then it did so well.
Picked up.
It picked up.
It was like viral.
Yeah, so if you want to self-publish, get a good editor, pay them a couple $1,000 rand, get a good layout artist, get a good photographer to do a cover, etc.
Or designer, yeah.
A designer, and you're going to spend probably about $15K just to get the product, retailable. Retailable. You want it retailable.
Tangible.
And then if you
Then you need one of these.
ISBN number. That's free though.
Yeah, you get that from the National Library.
The National Library, you
Nice.
get that
Yeah.
for free. And, you know, if you print 500 or 1,000 copies, it's going to probably cost you about 30 Rand per book.
Yeah.
It's not that expensive.
But
I see.
I've got an even better way, but that's a trade secret. So if you come across a good
I
book,
should give you a call.
we can start a publishing company. I know how to do it. I got it. Yeah.
Okay, Joe.
Well, tell us about the book, man. What's the book about, and what are people so excited about? What's going on?
You know, I wrote this. You know, this book for me is a collection of work and some new insights, and it's not so much self-help as much for people who are interested in reading interesting science. I'll give you an example. Like, you know, in the book I talk about, you know, a lot about the psychology, you know, of the subconscious mind, for example. Like Khanyi, you know, if you're ovulating, that your face changes.
Yes.
Yeah, your
Yes.
face becomes more symmetrical.
Yes.
Your situation perks up. You know, I talk about things
That's
like
code
that.
for she becomes more attractive.
Yeah, and so
That's what he was trying to say scientifically,
Yeah, I
without
think
sounding out of order.
looks like something is happening now. I'm not sure what. But you know, ultimately,
Is she ovulating now?
No, guys, it's
let's
not.
say-
Oh, okay. No, I mean, he looked at you. He was looking at you
Yeah,
like he could see.
there's something
All right.
happening. I'm not
So
sure.
she's ovulating. All right, go ahead.
You know, so this book for me was really about to say to people who are interested in understanding how to connect with people. So PBQ, much like emotional intelligence,
BQ.
creating a
IQ.
higher awareness
Yeah.
of how you see yourself, how you position yourself in the market, and how you engage stakeholders. I mean, there's a buzzword now about influence, and so I touch on influence and why it is important to own your influence, and why influence is largely driven by things sometimes that are out of your control, like what's happening in your subconscious mind, what's happening with your own body, and being aware of these things. So the primary purpose is to create awareness of how you can create more levels of control with yourself and how you can position yourself in the market. And you know, for me, I wanted to present some of my research to get people thinking differently. At the end of the day,
Let me interject, because
Yeah.
it's very easy to get lost when Tim talks. Like, people always ask, so what does Tim do? And I always say, Tim helps you to achieve greater success in your work or business life through working on your personal brand. I don't know, does that pretty much?
But my question to him
I know
is,
it simplifies it.
You just used the word that I wanted to ask him, and my next question is, what is a brand? Because everybody is calling themselves a brand now. What defines brand? What is a brand?
Sure. So let me say this is important because people, like you're saying, people think I do a lot of stuff. I work with human and brand behavior. Very simple. I work with people and brands and how they connect and intersect. And when you think about a person as a brand, you think about the story. When people see you, there's a story that surrounds your name.
Like the Lamborghinis.
Yeah, that's a story.
You don't forget that. Let me read
Because that's the story that surrounds your
but
name.
it's a dominant
Not
story.
anymore, though.
But
Yeah,
you
but
can't
not
erase
anymore
it.
to you. But there's a lot of people who still have that. And your
Is that
job,
how you feel?
Yeah.
and a lot
Absolutely.
of people. And so your job is to reposition that story in people's minds.
Which is what you're doing.
Yes,
and
what you're doing really
that
well.
quite well.
You're doing it really well. So that story can be leveraged through a number of things, but that story can be really negative. I don't know if you guys remember Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know that Abercrombie and Fitch paid that guy called The Situation not to wear his clothes?
Yes,
to wear
because
that
they
clothes.
did not want to be associated
Yes,
with
they
him.
don't want.
yeah.
Yes.
The same thing happened with that Snooki, that one of Gucci's, I think Gucci sent her a bag, the rival of Gucci sent her a bag, basically so that they would be seen as someone who does not associate with her.
Yes.
But that's the power of your story, is that you can attract people or you can repel people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
So you're a brand.
Yeah, I mean, people always misconstrue me as being this shock jock and this guy who says outlandish stuff. But those are the highlights that people talk about. But my work is completely different. Who I am is completely different. So I don't know. What do you think of my personal
come to
brand? Yeah, give us.
understand.
Let's do a little couch
think,
session with
I think
Joe.
people feel safe with you. I think people feel safe with you on air, knowing you're going to tell the truth and you're going to say things that are uncomfortable.
But
So
they
you're-
fear being interviewed by him.
Yeah, but remember, it's about the audience, not necessarily the guest.
Yeah.
So the audience feels like he's going to say the thing I may not be able to say. So your brand it's a strong impression of, you're going to be bold and strong and intellectual about approaching things and kind of make it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. We were actually talking about it girls earlier, and we were debating whether Kanye's an it girl or not.
Are you a retired it girl?
No, I have never been an it girl. I've never
You were
been.
the original it girl.
Yeah, I think you were the original.
Yeah, this is like pre-social media. Like, she's the original, and there was no one else around.
I have to confess, I used to have a crush on you.
Oh my gosh.
God,
This is
that
going
was
places.
going very
This is-
far.
But when?
Really?
Is this Lamborghini crush
this is
or pre-Lamborghini?
pre.
This is
Is this
pre-
Mubango?
This is pre-Lamborghini
Yeah.
days. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because you know the thing about my work is you get a chance to see people beyond what the public sees with their deeper values, and I always knew that Khanyi was really smart and that what she was doing.
You know, I always say that. People actually think she's this dumb blonde, but she's not. Go ahead.
Yeah, I always knew she was smart. And so it was a little sort of like childlike high school crush thing, whatever. It made it awkward whenever I would see her in public because I'd become like this little ridiculous.
Okay, let's
mushy.
move on. We're not going to talk about it girls. Tell us a bit about your TV show.
So
You just
Yeah.
recently started your own TV show, right?
yeah, you know, I've been very fortunate. I got a chance to do a segment with DJ Spoo on CNBC Africa. And the segment just started to grow and it just evolved naturally where we were focusing on women influences, women executives, entrepreneurs, social influences and so forth. And it's sort of now grown to a point where it deserved its own sort of own space.
Yeah.
But we're also going to edit some of that content and put it on Spoo's show, Kicking Doors.
Yeah.
So it's a really exciting time. I get a chance to interview influential women across the continent to find out how they got to where they are, what they're currently learning, and advice they have for young women.
Yeah.
And it's been really rewarding because I found that 90% of the women I've interviewed are the first to do what they're doing.
Wow.
And it's been interesting because there are times, for example, you know, I was chatting to Thuli Madansela, the public protector, and she says when she started her position, there weren't even bathrooms for her. It was only male bathrooms because most of these positions were
male.
because
It
of
was
patriarchy.
male-dominated,
Yeah, they were very male. So they're just fascinating things that we haven't considered. So I wanted to explore those things as part of this sort of human brand behavior dynamic. Things I talk about in the book. I want to see how people influence spaces and how brands and countries and narratives influence people.
Yeah. And in speaking to these 90 women, what has been the one recurring theme that most people can learn from, especially young women?
Because most of them don't have peers, you're the first to do it. Like I spoke to the first woman who started an airline on the continent, Caesar Mzamela, and you have to sort of feel what I'm hearing from them is that you have to find sort of colleagues that are not necessarily in your space. That
To mentor you.
Yeah, and get a circle of people around you. But interestingly, a lot of them are saying that their biggest support has come from men, not from other women.
It's true.
That a lot of women hate.
No, it's true. That's a fact. I mean, you'd get more help from a guy than you would from a woman, so.
And Puti Mahanyela said that when she was on Wall Street, that, you know, if she went to knock on the door of one of her sisters and hoping for help, and her sister was like, look, I'm busy. And then she went to this other white guy and he gave her all the time in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it just the dynamic of the sexes? Because I find I also work best with women. When I work with other men, it starts to become a competitive thing. Instead of being a collaborative thing like you would think.
Yeah.
In all my male business partnerships that I've had, you know, you grow up thinking a certain way. You think, yeah, no, we're going to be like the next Google. Let's work together. And then it turns out it's like, what's going on? Why are we fighting? But then when I work with women, it's completely different.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, the science has these answers. I mean, there's a competitive gene. If you look, teenagers, the moment they start becoming hormonal females, they start clawing at each other because subconsciously they become infertile. And so their body and their deeper subconscious mind is advertising, they're competing for space and attention. And so this thing continues up until literally the time when you're no longer fertile, where your body and your subconscious mind is no longer advertising and trying to compete with anyone. So, you know, some of it, and it's a very controversial sort of thinking, but those are the type of conversations I like to have real conversations about what's really happening in human behavior. Why does this competitive thing continue to happen? And I do believe it's driven by our need to survive and our instincts to compete and be seen as the most dominant person. And it's difficult if the sister next to you is competing and outshining you.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to become very conscious and aware of it so you can go, okay, this thing I'm feeling, it's a bit nonsense. It's primitive.
Yeah.
What does my higher sort of thinking say about it?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Tim. Well, we're gonna get you in the kitchen cooking. You know.
Okay.
Get your hands dirty. Your man hands dirty.
Okay. No, I'm on a cooking show. So.
What do you do over the weekend as well? What do you do?
I'm obsessed with basketball. I know. Don't look at my height and get.
Yeah, I was
No. And I think I'm gonna say this live on the air. I'm gonna say this on the air. I think I'm the best three-point shooter in the country.
What?
I'm gonna just put it out there.
What's your percentage? What's your percentage?
Anybody who plays with me will tell you I'm
What's
about
your percent? What are you?
80%.
80%?
Close to 80%.
No way.
8 out of 10. Dude, I'm telling you
on the
now.
ground. I'm like, huh?
No, I'm dead serious. Like, I'm not saying it arrogantly.
So you're saying you're NBA quality
Yes, that's what he's
No.
from the three-point
he's
line?
saying.
I mean, like Shaquille was in practice was averaging 71%. In games, he was like 50.
No, Joe.
So you're saying?
Listen, I grew up poor. So there were times when I would tell my father, "There's no food at home. I'm gonna go take people's money,
On the
and
court.
I'm gonna come back and offer food for the family."
Wow.
So when people see me hitting 80%, they think it's just some sort of.
Oh, you've been doing it since you were a kid.
I've been doing it to survive.
It was a survival
as a kid.
thing,
So I
yeah.
played basketball in high school. You know, growing up in the States. I came
Were you on the
here for
varsity team?
Yeah, I played
Starting
varsity.
five?
Starting five. I got photos.
Okay,
to
I
prove
just
it. I
gotta
know you
make
don't
sure.
believe me. You got that look.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
dude,
you should join the celebrity team when we start playing that whole.
they're not serious.
No, you know what? He plays with the 7-footers from Senegal.
Yeah, no, he doesn't want to.
in the CBD in Joburg.
I'm
He don't-
joking.
Yeah.
But I do want to actually put a challenge out to the minister of
Sports and
sports.
Do it.
Figil.
I wanted to create a 3-point contest.
Do it.
Fakile Balule. I want to do a 3. If anybody can beat me, we're going to donate money to charity.
From where? From your book sales? I'm putting him on the spot. All right, Figil Mbalula, you heard that. Timothy Maurice is challenging you. He thinks he's the best 3-point shooter basketball
Host the tournament.
in the country.
Yes.
He's saying let's do something. Guys, we're going to keep the conversation going. Don't forget #The Weekend Edition. We're going to get Tim in the kitchen. And also, if you want to hear or follow or connect more with Timothy, be sure to go to his website. That's timothymaurice.com. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the weekend edition. My next guest is interesting because we've never had a personal conversation to sit face to face and have a chat. So this is the soul of the house. You remember what I told you, right? The table is the face, the heart is in the kitchen, and the lounge is the soul of this place. So we're in the soul. This is where we get very deep and close with each other. I'd like to welcome Allegro to the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Lovely to be here.
What do you think of the space? I ask everyone this.
I love it. It looks a little bit smaller, but I love it. You know how you see things on TV.
You know, we look at you, you're very tiny, your frame is tiny, you look very young, but the things you've done are just, they are beyond your years.
Thank you.
Did you play as a child?
Yes, with books.
With books, no friends, no toys, no...
Extramural activities, maths, physics class, debate, poetry, hockey, go swim, stuff like that. That was me.
When they speak of PR and they speak of gurus and people that are in the game, your name always comes up, you know? So that is something that we can't take away from you. But behind the PR, the fixer, who are you?
I'm just a young South African, black businesswoman, born in Polokwane, raised in Pretoria, and I'm just hustling in Joburg and everywhere else, I guess. I'm 26, and I don't know, I think a lot of people think I inspire them because I decided to just be self-employed at a very young age. I decided while I was about to graduate, actually, studying my BA journalism degree at UJ. I was in 3rd year and I thought, you know what, I'm going to finish, I'm going to get my qualification, but I'm just going to sit on it, and launch a company. And at the time, I'm 21, everybody's like, a media company. Okay, good luck with that, But so far, so good. I've never submitted a CV in my life. I've employed 8 people at the company now. We're turning 5 in October, and best decision of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
But at 21, I mean, everyone just wants to finish school, make mom and dad happy, and then start traveling, start going to places they couldn't go to, drink, party.
Yeah.
Wasn't that part of your list?
No, the travel part, yes, and I do that a lot, especially in the first quarter of the year. I like to travel. I do solo trips. Just last year, March, I went to Europe, Paris, Amsterdam, and London alone. You know, met strangers, and it was fun. But then it's always back to the work. You know, back to what are my dreams? What do I want to achieve this year? And you know, being in business, you can't just always be on the road traveling and doing things like that. So for me, I socialize in a different way. I'm an introvert, you know, but then I know when to be an extrovert and be outgoing. And, you know, within our industry, you need to attend events and go network. But I also like being, you know, centered at home and read books and, you know, watch documentaries and things like that. For some 26-year-olds, that might sound boring. You know, cooking muffins, I'm baking muffins, sorry, on a Friday, but that's
well,
just
it's a
me.
good time to be on the show because it's everything sweet today. So, hey, you and Sue might just get along pretty well.
Yeah.
You say you're 26, which means you fall under the born-free era, right? Am I correct?
90s baby.
90s baby. All 90s kids, I mean, how do you find the balance? Because most of them are quite vocal, quite artistic. And you seem very, you know, level-headed, grounded, and you know the direction that you want to take. It makes me wonder who your parents are, you know? What makes you so different from the kids now?
I think I grew up in a space where my parents really, more so my mom, really tried to show us a different part of the world that we never really grew up in. You know, I was born in Polokwane, as I said, and they were working in Pretoria, and they decided, you know what, we're gonna, you know, raise our kids in Pretoria and make sure they get, you know, the best education and so on. But then at a later stage, when I was 10, my parents divorced, and we had to go back to Limpopo, you know. And for me, that, because I already had a little taste, you know, of what is out there, I think that just fueled me even more, you know, to say, you know what, I'm going to do more with my life. I'm going to dream big, you know, and I know there's a lot more to achieve outside. And I know they like saying, you know, the 90s, the born frees, the millennials, you know, we like things, you know, to come quickly, you know, and we don't want to wait for anything. We don't want to work hard for anything, you know. So I think
you have the sense of entitlement.
Exactly,
yes.
You know. So I think my upbringing and watching my mom be, you know, a single parent from the age of 10 till now, just fueled me, you know, and I take time with the things that I'm working on, and I know what I want, and I focus on that. And I'm one person that if I set my mind on something, it has to work out, you know, one way or another. You can make mistakes and so on, but you learn from that and you move on. So, and that's the kind of mindset I went to UJ with, you know, from high school, going to UJ, knocking at doors at the SABC and so on, wanting internships and to shadow, you know, women like Carol Chabalala and just learn, you know. I did that, you know, throughout varsity. I didn't wait for opportunities to just come land whenever, you know, or when I was a graduate and then now I'm trying to look for a job quickly, you know. So I think I've just always had that drive looking at how I was raised.
So you've mentioned that you shadowed a lot of women, the SABC and what have you. What was the one experience or one personality that put the stamp on your dream and say, yes, I'm on the right path, this is definitely it?
I think walking into the SABC at 19, 2009. And, you know, I just told myself that day, I stayed on campus, you know, I was a res girl, and I'm like, there are no extramural activities I can do on campus. And as a first year living on campus, you had to do something, hockey, whatever it might be, you know. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna go over to the SABC. Surely, you know, Carol will just take me into the studio and boom, you know, I'm gonna be doing something. And I walked in and I told them, listen, I'm studying journalism and I just want to shadow you. I've been watching you on TV and so on. And that day she was doing her show on Radio 2000 and I was waving by the mirror and then she comes around during an ad break and she's like, what do you do? And so on. And I explained my story. I'm a student and I really just want to be a fly on the wall and watch you work and see maybe is this, you know, the career path that I want to take, or maybe I'll step back a bit, you know. And she really just took me in from radio. It was to her, you know, sports shows on TV and so on. So I feel like I always just had that ambition, you know, and trying to approach people. Some people are going to close doors, it's fine, and they don't want to help you, but keep knocking, you know. Don't sit back and think, okay, well, somebody has to do it for me. Nobody's going to do it for you. And I think that's how I was just kind of also raised and the mentality I've always had. And yeah, I don't want to wait till I'm 30 to start my media company. I wanted to start young, make my mistakes, you know, things like that. You know, so for me, meeting Oprah at a very young age, I was 21 when I met her. I thought I can die now. It's fine.
It's done. It's done.
Fine.
You've met Oprah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then came the Basis and the Khanyi Dlomos, you know, women that I grew up looking up to, you know, looking at their careers, the journeys and what they've been through and so on, their mistakes and successes. And then now you meet them and you get a call from like Basi, you're like, what? Okay, you know? But it's not the point where you think, now I've made it. It's, you know, I've grown as an individual and now I'm reaching my dreams. And the women that I looked up to and still respect to this day see that, you know, I'm also coming up. You know, I'm doing something positive and they can acknowledge that. That for me was just like a stamp of approval.
And that's my next question is, you know, usually when people get such mercy and success and such gratitude from people, especially people of influence, and they get into spaces that they couldn't have dreamed of being in, it tends to go to their heads. It gets inflated, and that's when they start making mistakes and losing their image.
Yeah.
You've managed to maintain that. Yeah. How have you stayed away from getting high from the situation or the people that you're surrounded by?
Because I want more. This is not it. You know, I meet a lot of people, a lot of young girls on social media that follow me, you know, some even older than me, and they send me emails and they just want me to mentor them or come shadow at my office and so on. And everybody's talking about, you've made it, you know, the success, you're running, you know, an independent media company at such a young age. Nobody thought it would be successful. You know, everybody was like, that degree she's sitting on, it will be her plan B and she'll use it at some point. I still haven't, you know. And for me, I hear all of that and I acknowledge it, and it's very, it's nice to hear, you know, people tell you that they look up to you and you're inspiring them to do better things with their lives. But at the back of my head, I'm thinking, I'm not even where I want to be. And all of this is happening, you know.
Where do you want to be?
I just want to like have offices in New York, in London. I want to be representing, yes, you know, representing international clients. And so this is the start, you know, the foundation is there, it's solid enough, but I'm still building, you know, and already during those, you know, building blocks, people are like, well done, as if I've like achieved everything, which is great at my age, I get it. But I think what keeps me grounded is the fact that I know where I still want to go. Yes. And if I get, you know, stuck in the hype and, you know, believing everything that's going on now that I've made it, that'll be when I get comfortable, and then I might just stay where I am and never, you know, go higher. Yes. You know, or it will be the downfall of the company and just Allegro, the brand that I'm building as an entrepreneur also. So, yeah, I think that's what keeps me grounded. Family also, you know. My family is always like, yeah, whatever. We don't see you as this person. People see you, and that always grounds you. You know, it's like you're normal. So.
Well, I commend you for really being such a great person and, you know, keeping your eye on the ball. Yeah. Now for the juicy bits. You know, it wouldn't be an interview with me if there's any juice.
Obviously.
You know, you've chosen to become a nanny. I say PR agents are nannies to the clients that they choose. You've chosen a very, very hard profession because dealing with artists is difficult. It means managing from their personal life to their, you know, professional life, to the decisions that they make. You need to always be that voice of reason, the protector, the mother, you know, and they need to put their trust in you. Yeah. What is it that you do? Because I know that, you know, people of interest, I'll use that word, have sensitive lives, and it's difficult for them to let people in so that they could trust them. And people trust you. I mean, you've had really good clients that put their lives in your hands. What and how do you ensure that they stay with you, and why do they trust you so much?
I think the most important thing as a publicist is that you actually have a relationship beyond just the professional, you know, relationship with your clients. Understand what they like, what their needs are, where they want to take their brands, and almost don't be too friendly, like now you overstep your line and you don't want to, like, you know, doing things in the right way in terms of business. But at the same time, like, I hang out with my clients. I get to know the real people. I don't want just that artist when you're in studio, this is how you are. I want to know your story, you know. And I think that is the base, you know. There's the work, and then I understand, say now, our client, Donald, you know. I've known Donald for many years while he was still a backup singer, you know, till now, and now he's like in the forefront, he's doing his thing, he's one of the top artists, I believe, in the country. And I understand, some things, even when I get mail, I don't even have to run it past him. I know what Donald would do. you know, I get to that point where I understand my clients. Even afterwards,
You become them.
Yeah, I'm just like, you'd never go for that. Okay, no, you know, things like that where it's easy for me to work with them, you know. So I think building that friendship also and understanding them on a personal level. It's not just, yes, it's business at the end of the day, but I'm not just there to sit and take your retainer. I need to understand Khanyi. What does Khanyi want? If I can't get a hold of you and they hear a journalist and they want a press release, I have to be Khanyi. I know what you want. I know what your brand is about. I know what we discussed 3 months ago that you want today, and so on. You know, so I think just building that, you know, personal relationship.
But you're like a doctor as well.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you may, and I don't know if you're in that situation where you have a friend who's probably a journalist that is a friend of yours besides what they do, and then you're representing someone, and here comes a scandal or a story that is not touched. How do you then balance not talking about your client or being asked? How do you put that? Because even if you had a boyfriend, there's certain things that you can't discuss with anyone else. How do you handle that?
I just don't say anything I'm not supposed to say. Like, you know, we're in the business where if they're not your friends, they're your acquaintances, you know. I will know people, whether you're an editor of a tabloid magazine or newspaper, whatever it is, but I know that I'm not going to comment on something about a client that we haven't discussed. If anything, I always tell my clients that, okay, if it's damage control that we'll be doing, whatever issue that comes up, I should be, after family, maybe the first person you call and let me know that, okay, listen, 1, 2, and 3 just happened. I got pulled up by cops and whatnot. The story might be in papers. How are we going to go about it? That way I know how I take control of the situation. And we as, you know, the PR agency, because if they can't get a hold of me, they're calling somebody else at the office. And if we're clueless, we're just going to be like, you know, maybe no comment. And that already we know what happens in our industry. It's just as good as you just approving whatever that's.
So what happens on a DI, I mean, driving under the influence, a DUI? Do you buy the story? Do you pay people that she wasn't there?
Yeah, no, I want the truth. I always say, let's look at what the truth. You were there. Were you the one driving? Okay, now what are you going to be? What are you going to do about it to be responsible? Are you actually going to follow through with the law?
You don't erase
all of that?
things.
No.
You don't make it disappear.
If anything, we'll keep quiet. If we see that the situation is escalating, put out a formal press release, a statement on behalf of the client, and you know, I always say that just acknowledging what you've done and taking responsibility is the best thing than saying no comment or running away, because people are going to keep talking and different, you know, stories are going to get around, and before you know it, you can't even control the situation anymore. So if we've said something and this is the official press release from our side, then you know, that's our word, and whatever else you want to say, we've already spoken out on that matter. So I always say to clients, yes, you want to say no comment sometimes and things like that, but put out something, you know, a paragraph, just say this is where we're at, we'd like to deal with this privately, or my lawyers have been contacted, whatever it is, and then you'll see, I mean, they move on to the next story, something juicier, and yeah.
Yeah. Besides the PR work that you do, which is really, really amazing, you're into property.
Yes.
So funny, you work with artists that can barely get bonds of the work that they do.
They they just don't want to.
I understand, but I mean, usually as freelancers, you know, you go to a bank and they're like, but boo, you don't have a pay slip, how am I gonna, you know? But how is that being now, you've gone into real estate? I mean, that's amazing. What do you do?
We own and manage a couple of properties and land, and this was really like a hobby thing for me. You know, my mom was like, no, you know what, I think young people should not put all their eggs in one basket. You hear that all the time, but while you're making the money and you're young, I'm 26,
you don't even think about
you don't
that.
think
You're
about
like,
it.
nah, I'm not gonna think about that.
And she has like farms and things like that, and as a kid I always be like, but ma, farms, what are you doing with, you don't even care about all those cattle and donkeys and things like that you have there. But she was like, it's investment, you know. And she sat me down and said, you should look into it, I can help you around, you know. You buy a piece of land cheap, and then 3 years, 5 years from now you sell it to, you know, some company trying to build a mall there or whatever it is, you know. So I took it seriously, and I bought my first piece of land. I think I was, what, 24? And then I got excited. I'm like, oh, I'm owning property now and things like that. So then I moved into the managing student property in Johannesburg, and it's a bit challenging because it's a different, you know, space altogether.
Yes.
You know, but it's something that I love. At least I know I'm putting my money to good use, and I'm also going to make money, you know, in the long run. That's what I'm doing. So that's, yeah, for now it's still a private company. and then we'll get into, you know, things and being relatives and so on. But it's something that I'm also passionate about, you know. And I mean, I'm not going to do this all the time. Eventually, the company will still be, but I'm not going to personally be doing it. I want to travel. I want to do other things, and I want to make sure that while I travel, you know, something else is putting money in there.
Of course.
Be it the property,
It
be
works
it
for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. You know, so I think start at a young age. If you don't like it, you have enough time to switch.
Of course.
You have enough time to say, okay, I made a mistake, I didn't like that, but I've tried it before. Rather than, you know, an oops, as they say, then a what if. You know, do it and see.
And see what happens. You are, I mean, I think you're exposed mentally, and I think it's also from traveling as well. Do you do a lot of reading?
I do a lot of reading. I think if I'm not cooking, baking, I'm reading or watching documentaries.
What an interesting life.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm doing that, or I watch a lot of movies. Like, I'm that one person that can watch like really good movies and then wait for the DVD. Like, I'm excited. Wow. When does it come out? And I keep them at home. And then, you know, I can do a movie marathon, like watch 3 DVDs, movies at home on a Friday night. And that's me. You know, I think I get a lot of inspiration from the traveling, from, you know, trying out recipes that I never thought would ever work out. And I always write things. You know, I think somewhere in my notes and whatnot, I've probably written like 4 books.
Wow.
But they're not put together.
You brought these books?
Yes, these are some of my favorite books. Oprah's What I Know For Sure is amazing. I think everything that's in there, for her to be speaking to you like we're having a conversation like this, you know, she tells it all. From relationships, things that
I've read it,
you don't
so
think
I know
Oprah has been through that, you know. And for me, it sort of gave me another person away from the media mogul and what I know now. She's like just as real as as real as me. She's been through all these problems from family and friends and relationships and so on. A very powerful book. I always go back to it. I think I've read it twice now. You know, always go back to that. And then Personal Brand Intelligence by Timothy Maurice. Webster.
He's on the show?
Yes. Mine is also autographed, you know.
Oh, wow.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I met up with him at a women's event, and I got the book, and I've just been reading this, and it's something that you might overlook sometimes. Personal brand IQ, like, okay, whatever. Like issues from social media. How do you brand yourself? You know, we're in the business of, you know, you want to attract other brands. People believe now that numbers equate to influence and things like that. And you need to position yourself, you know, in the right space, especially if now I'm telling people I can do that for you and I can't even do it for myself. How are you going to trust me, you know, as Allegro, as the entrepreneur and so on. So it's a very good book. I'm not done with it yet, but I was on the same flight with Timothy, and he tells me that this book, there's chapters that I'm going to get deep into, and I'm going to learn so much more. So I'm excited to finish that off. And then another book that's a favorite.
To bring that book, what's going on here?
No, he
what
actually signed it, so it's real. It's real. He actually signed it. It's a real thing.
This is like an infomercial here now.
Well, we're going to speak to him some more later in the show. But the question to you is, are you living your dream? As Allegro has told you that it's never too late to start, but start earlier so that you can still keep editing and editing till you get it right. Hashtag The Weekend Edition, and tell me your thoughts on Facebook. It is The Weekend Edition. Twitter, Instagram, the Weekend Edition. What is it? What is it?
They had it on
the
screen,
Weekend
don't worry.
On 3. That's what it is. I'll see you after the break when we go to the kitchen. It is a sweet Sunday. See you now.
It's a weekend. It's a weekend.
Welcome back to the Weekend Edition. We are now in the kitchen about to whip up our first meal of the day. And it looks very dessert-like. I like anything dessert-like. I've got a crazy sweet tooth.
Okay, good, because it's all actually going to be sweet today.
Yeah.
So it's for you.
I avoid it, but I love it. So let's do it.
Why do you avoid it? Yeah.
Because I have a sweet tooth and I'm a fat kid at heart. And I'm really like me. I'm going. It's a thing. I'm going through a thing, Khanyi. I'm not as skinny as you. I wasn't born gifted like you.
Look, this is manufactured. Trust.
Is it manufactured?
Yeah. No, we eat right. So what's that?
So we are going to be doing a cheesecake on a ginger snap biscuit base. So I quite like ginger. So instead of using your typical digestive biscuits that you usually would, they're just ginger biscuits that have been crushed.
Sounds delicious. Only question I have is, me and Khanyi are a touch lactose intolerant. Can we have a slice, or is it going to be one of those things where we should stay away?
Oh, wow, it's cheesecake with a lot of cream cheese and a lot of yogurt. Now I feel bad.
No, don't feel bad.
No, don't feel bad.
I
We feel
love
bad
it.
for you.
I love milkshakes. I love cheesecakes. I just can't indulge as much as I'd like to. I need to be on an island by myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Save us.
I know everyone always thinks our cheesecake kind of complicated to make. They're not. So it's just a little bit of melted butter with your biscuits into the base of the tin. That's going to make our base.
I have this tin. This is the first item I've seen in this show that I have at home.
I left with my mom's tin.
So are you going to make this for somebody else then, Joe? Or are you scared you're going to eat it?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I would make this. Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you crush the ginger cakes?
So
Because they're so fine.
I do it in like a basic food processor that's got the hand blender on top.
Yes.
But if you don't have one, put it into a shopping carrier, and you can actually just beat it with a rolling pin. So if you don't have a food processor at home, you can actually crush them. Don't throw it. Don't throw it anyway. Actually, no.
It did look like a gold powder. We didn't know what it was.
Yeah. So those are the ginger biscuits. Then for our filling, pretty easy. Joe, I'm going to ask you to give me a hand. We've got cream cheese and eggs.
Yummy.
Do you know why I'm asking him? So the man can do the...
Yes.
He's strong, so if you can whisk it...
I think Khanyi's a better whisker. Who is the king of whiskers?
Was
it
it
me?
make him work, and I'm actually supposed to be the chef. Okay. So once that starts to loosen up, we're going to add our caster sugar, we're going to add our corn flour, our vanilla essence.
Oh, that's what I'm smelling.
Yeah, it's the vanilla essence.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go in with the sugar.
Where is the vanilla essence? Was it in the sugar?
This is the... here, which is one of my favorite smells. So
right.
But how much of sugar is this?
So that is 70 grams of caster sugar, and you want to use caster sugar because it's finer.
Okay.
So
what's the difference between using vanilla essence, vanilla? What's the other one?
Extract.
And then extract, and then obviously getting the vanilla pods.
Paste and the pods. So your vanilla essence is the essence of that.
It's essential.
Yeah. How do I explain it? So almost like you would get an oil out of something. Yeah, it is a little bit fake.
Yeah, it's fake. Okay.
So vanilla paste is what I prefer to use. Which is the thicker, where they've actually made the seeds into a paste.
They've extracted it from the paste, right, okay.
Your vanilla pods, you would put into things like, we are going to be making milk tarts later, so you could cook down your milk liquid with pods in it, something like that. So
it's a bit clumpy.
Nice
Is
job.
okay?
No, you're doing a great job.
Nice
I'm actually
job.
just letting him. I'm like hanging around you when you're doing a great job.
Can it get smooth already?
And then our corn flour. No, you're doing a great job. It will come smooth. This is our corn flour. So our corn flour is just going to help it solidify when it bakes.
Okay.
And then we've got some Greek yogurt. That's why it's like cheese and yogurt.
All right. Okay, cool.
But that's looking good. So I'm going to go in with this, which will also just add
Good
some.
job. Good job.
Scoop it
Grab
out.
that quickly, scoop it all out. It's 225 grams of Greek yogurt. You can also use cream.
Okay.
I just like the tartness
of the yogurt, of course.
Of the yogurt, so that's the only
I
reason
can taste it already, girl.
Joe, you're doing a fabulous job. I feel like I'm doing nothing. Okay, so
because you are doing nothing.
I'm just standing here. It's looking great. We're almost ready to pour in, but this is what it's going to look like when the product is finished. So, Khanyi, are you going to help me decorate?
Yes, and what's that?
So we've got, that is our icing sugar for the final end.
All right.
So that's perfect.
So Khanyi can pour it in, right?
Are you going to decorate or pour in? Okay, you pour in.
Let's see
You
if
see,
her
I'm just
pouring
kind of
skills
standing. I'm standing here.
Well, I mean, this is your recipe, right? So you're just talking us through it, so that's pretty cool.
So
that's
the consistency is perfect.
I don't know, am I doing it wrong? Am I doing it right?
No, you're perfect.
Is there a way?
No, you're great. We just got to get it all out.
Here. Use one of these.
Take that.
Yeah, so if you hold that, I'll get the rest of it out for you. So that is as simple as it is. Cream cheese, yogurt, eggs, vanilla essence, sugar, a little bit of corn flour.
Smells good.
And then we're just going to give this a bit of a shake.
Because you want it to,
We want it to be all even.
Right.
And that's going to bake for 30 minutes at 180 degrees. Something important about cheesecake is you let it cool in the oven. So when it's done, turn the oven off. Leave that cheesecake in there to cool. So even if it sits in there for an hour, you let it actually set and finish with the heat off. And then you chill it until you're ready.
Your cheesecake looks really smooth. Oftentimes, cheesecakes you get are really thick and almost powdery looking. This looks like my stomach could take it.
What's the difference? And
what is the difference?
Obviously, also, it's just the size of your tin. So if you're using a 20-centimeter tin, it's going to bake higher. And it can sometimes change the consistency of what the finished product
okay.
is.
Got you.
So I'm going to pop this into the oven.
All right.
But we've got one that's done, and then it is as simple as topping with whatever you want. So you can whip cream if you want.
I love it. It looks so custardy. It doesn't look like the typical cheesecake.
So we're gonna do, well, I mean, you could do whatever you wanted to do with the top. And I'm gonna pile some of these on, and then we're gonna do blueberries, and then we're just gonna dust it. We just want it to be
But how long does it take
pretty.
to just prepare this?
So, I mean, that's as quickly as it is to do that.
Half an hour done.
Half an hour done, and then it's going to sit in the oven, and then you chill it until you're ready. So the nice thing is, you know, you can do it the day before if you're having guests, and just let it sit in the fridge overnight.
Right. This
So
is dope.
how are we going to finish this? We're going to do a couple more.
Okay.
And then we're going to, always my favorite part, makes me actually look like I can bake.
Right. This is the part that makes it look spectacular, right?
The finish.
The finished product. And as I say, yeah, if you do want to do cream or things to finish, you can. But that is our cheesecake done.
Is that breakfast? Is that a starter? What is that?
That is just a sweet treat for you.
High five. There we go, man.
It's a sweet morning, sweet Sunday morning.
Yeah, what a way to start a Sunday morning. Guys, recipes on our Facebook page, The Weekend on 3, as well as on Instagram. Not the recipe, but you can follow us. Don't forget to keep the conversation going. It's hashtag The Weekend Edition. We'll be right back after this. Holla.
It's a weekend. It's a
Welcome back. You're still watching The Weekend Edition. My next guest is someone I enjoy sitting with and having a conversation because she is one woman who is very, very focused in what she does. If you think Adele and how Adele takes her music seriously, my next guest is exactly that. Only the music, nothing else, and respect me as an artist. And her aura says so. I'd like to say welcome to Maleh.
Thank you so much.
I say Adele because I don't see you anywhere.
That's such an honor. I mean, honest, Adele, because you don't see her anywhere.
Yeah, you are about the music. There's nothing else. It's never about
like
the
that.
hair, the parties. It's never, ever about that.
You know, Khanyi, I get some criticism sometimes from people who feel like, you know, do we see you enough on the social spaces? And, you know, you don't go to the parties and mingle, you know. I've decided to take my own lane in terms of my approach to making music and becoming the artist that I, you know, visualize myself as being. And that, for me, was important that I make the focus about the music. You know, I think one thing that I was fortunate with was I started early. So as early as 18, I was already a professional singer, earning money. You know, I was already introduced to the beast that is fame.
Yes.
You know, all those things. So
Yes.
the second time around, becoming a solo artist, now as a young woman, not a kid anymore, my feeling is if I can get the art form right first, because the discovery of the sound is such an intense thing.
It is.
You know,
I
so
think
that's
you were
where my
born in the
focus is
sound,
most of the
though.
time, and I'm just always in my headspace. The headspace that I'm always in is performing, perfecting my craft. Yeah.
But you were born in the music, right? I mean, with your father. I mean, your father's is a musician. Your family's art, your family's music. It's a glorious place.
I think I like to boast that my dad used to be a musician, and he was part of a band in his heyday. And
Yes.
you know, I obviously take my love and passion for music from him, I think. And you know, I think if you look at a place like Lesotho, where I grew up, and I always count myself so lucky and blessed that I was born into just a world that represents for me so much love and peace and oneness, and it's such a close-knit community. You know, that is something that I always, where I come from, is something that I always try to make sure reflects in my music. So yeah, basically.
How has the industry been since the days of you falling? Because you've been, you know, that's how we all got to actually know you, you know, since those days.
Yeah.
How has it been?
Falling was a huge song. I mean, when that came out, I happened to have just started the journey of pursuing myself as a solo artist.
Yes.
And, you know, in the space of 2 weeks, I went from really still trying to figure out Facebook, and I was one of the latecomers to the whole concept of
bloomer.
Facebook. Yeah. And I had about 200 friends, roughly, you know. And in 2 weeks, I had like my Facebook page was full I had 5,000 people coming through with positive energy, people coming through with negative energy. And if you look at my Twitter, you can go right back up to the top, and I went and I disappeared for 2 years or something like that, and I excused myself from that space because it was for me something so overwhelming that I felt at the time I didn't need to deal with. And so the journey started off like that for me. You know, I was just some young girl who sang a song that actually went throughout the world and was in dance clubs throughout the world. Till today, it's one of my biggest songs so far, and it was a pleasure to have worked with DJ Kent, of course. So that's where it started, and then I think what happened was there was the transition for me from now being introduced as a house artist to where now I was saying to people, oh no, but the album's going to be an Afro soul album, by the way.
And it was like,
yeah, and there was a lot of resistance from especially people in the industry, you know, who felt that it was a mistake for me to leave what obviously was doing well in terms of the genre. But as an artist, I felt like I want to be able to, you know, from track 1, you know, start on a fast-paced track, and then track 5 go completely slow, and, you know, the mood changes completely. I really just wanted to experiment with different sounds.
With different sounds. But wasn't it a bit daunting and scary to try and go into that, especially being young as you are? Because young people tend to go into hip-hop or Afro-pop, things that are fast-paced and very fashionable.
No, that's true. That's true.
And to get in, and I know for a fact that to get into the space you're trying to go, you need to have credibility and stripes, because that side of music, especially your colleagues, the people you sing with, want you to be serious, and they do judge you. How was that?
I believe, and I've always encouraged, especially young artists who are seeking to be in the spaces, that one of the things that you just could do yourself a favor is throughout your career, stick to your truth about who you are and what you're about, you know. So yes, for instance, with me at the time, house music was huge on the scene, and the pressure was there to put out a full house album. But I think one of the things that you have to do is define your vision and believe in it. You know, I look up to women in this industry who have taken the time out to discover the sounds and the roots, you know, of our culture, so diverse, and to translate it through their music and how they see themselves in this society that we live in. And that, for me, is something that's important. I'm a young African child living in a very cosmopolitan world, trying to reconcile, you know, what we have as Western influence in terms of music so heavily, you know, and trying to discover the sounds of my people from Lesotho, and how do I put that together. So that for me is a quest, I think, in terms of my evolving sound.
Yeah, but would you say that you've found the sound of making that indigenous Lesotho sound and making it relevant today, which I think you have, but personally, do you think that you're there, or you're still trying to find it?
You know, for instance, I'm working on my upcoming album, which would be my 3rd album.
Yes.
And I get to a point where I realize I need to go back home and sit in the mountains for a couple of weeks.
And listen to the whisper.
Listen to the whisper.
Yeah.
You know, because I believe that there's so much in this world that we live in that keeps us away from who we truly are, you know, the essence of who we are as Africans. And there's so many other distractions, so we get to a point where we tend to sideline our cultural beliefs, our languages. You know, we raise our children and we don't put emphasis on the need to understand your forefathers' heritage, language, etc.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think it's just one of those things that is an evolving thing. You know, sound is you know, the sound of music doesn't stand still. And,
it doesn't.
And so it's important that you are constantly just trying to find where you fit in that space at that time.
And for you, it must be difficult because, I mean, Europe is drawing you, it's pulling you, because Europe is, they are soaking you up. They love your sound. I mean, your songs are played there, especially Falling. Falling is also quite big there as well.
It still is, yes.
It is. Even now, if you go to a club, you still find Falling.
Absolutely.
And I know you're really, how do you then balance that out? Because there's this notion now that where's the line when it's become a global citizen, be part of the world, grow your mind, but be African solid. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
No,
it's a bit difficult. Is being global a physical state of mind, or is it psychological? What is it?
You know, for me, especially with this album, You Make My Heart Go, within the first week of the release, it was on the top 100 selling songs on iTunes, which it didn't do with the first album. So that was a huge accomplishment, I felt, you know. The album was named one of the top 5 albums to come out of Africa by the UK Guardian. So I think, you know, over the years we've seen that Europeans are very much interested in the sound coming out of Africa.
They are.
And I feel like one of the things that I am always challenging myself with is how do I do, for instance, a genre like R&B, which is an American genre, but how do I make R&B sound like me, which is an African child? You know, I feel like yeah, I just feel like
I'm with you.
Yeah,
yeah.
I just feel like we are the new sound of the world as well. Like there's so much focus on African music and what's coming out, and it won't sound like what it did 100 years ago, because we're living at different times. But what I find is always important to do is to make sure you're representing that element of who you are.
Yes.
So that's kind of maybe the approach that I like to look at it from.
Yeah, I think that, you know, when music started, especially when the Western world dominated the music scene in everything that they did, Africa was still a toddler at the time, but now it's grown. It's now become an adult, and that's why it's demanding so much.
Hence we say Viva 90% Viva.
Hey.
Because I think that obviously has been a big topic in the industry, and just as an artist who's been in the industry for as long as I have, over 10 years, and that opportunity where we say, here are the platforms for the artists who make the music that represents and that reflects where society is now. It's like putting a mirror in front of somebody and then setting it to reveal so many other different things except for that which they are.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if you're not going to give a major platform to artists that are local, that are speaking about the narrative of the society today, you know, it's a disservice to your nation, I think. So it's a great initiative that we are in a process where we want to develop the industry. We want not just the artists to have opportunities and grow. We want to have composers, authors, film directors, fashion designers. It's a whole chain and a network of this creative industry that has so much potential, there's so much talent. So, you know, to really sideline that and look down on it when really we've had over the years such great artists represent us all over the world.
Wow, I would like to give you an opportunity to put your money where your mouth is by saying, showing us your talent by giving us your second song.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Really don't know what more I could ask for when you're always on my mind. Yet I cannot make it through the words that would have you by my side. Still I ponder on what it would cost me, wonder how much longer it will be. Wonder if it's time though that you would just level with me, and I would ask make it through the words that would have you by my side. Said I would go wherever you would ask me, over hills and the valleys and seas. If only you would let me give you the love I would have you receive. And I would ask of tomorrow to bring me deep blue skies. I would ask of tomorrow, bring me a truthful light. I would ask of tomorrow, help me open your eyes. There's a cloud of love passing our way. Yet around and round we go. And I would ask of my tomorrow, bring me deep blue skies. I would ask of my tomorrow, bring me a truthful light. I would ask of my tomorrow, help me open your eyes. There's a cloud of love and it's passing our way. You make my heart go. You make my heart go.
The fade out. And in case you weren't aware, she wrote that song for me. All right. Hashtag the weekend edition. Say what you want to. We'll be right back.
It's a weekend. It's a weekend.
Welcome back to the weekend edition. We've got all our guests here at the round table. We're gonna have a group discussion. But first, I want to let you know that Timothy has allowed us so graciously to give away copies of his book. We're actually gonna give them away right now. SMS the book, the name of the book, all right? We're not gonna tell you what it is, the name of the book, your name, and the city which you're from to 33728. T's and C's apply. You can go check out the T's and C's on our Facebook page. That is the weekend edition, right? No, the weekend on 3? Is it the weekend edition? Well, it's right here.
Weekend edition on
It's right here.
Facebook.
Huh?
Weekend edition on Facebook,
There you go,
Twitter,
the Weekend Edition on
Instagram,
Facebook.
the weekend on 3.
So T's and C's are there, and I saw you tried to steal the book. Maleh, you think you're slick.
Oh, really?
Look, it's mine.
Between me and Allegra, I don't know. I don't think
If you want
you're-
a copy of the book, send an SMS,
that's
all
for
right?
sure.
It's not that bad. It's not that serious.
Yes.
And just some ground rules. Timothy has already established that he has a crush on Khanyi. So the three of us
We
need to be
are
very
dead
careful.
this morning.
We need to be very careful how we
I don't know why
maneuver in
he's
this
sitting here.
conversation. So I'm going to give it over to you, Khanyi. So maybe you can look into Tim's lovely, loving eyes and kickstart the conversation.
You must never wear salmon again, ever.
Yeah, no.
Ever, like ever. You are a problem
Go
today.
ahead, let's talk about it. What do you want to talk about?
No. I mean, we had a conversation while you guys were away about the it factor.
Oh,
you know,
like-
people, yeah, because I feel the industry at the moment, if you look on social media, everybody's trying to be that it girl, it boy, it. And they think by being it means you matter. And it's not that. It's
Like
not
the way you
putting
were
it on.
it for Tim.
What? Oh, jeez.
I don't know, I'm just trying to follow you here. Okay, so, yeah? Ladies, you care to comment? What's your question, though? What's your issue?
The question is, what does it take? And I'm speaking to, because you guys work with this. I mean, this is what you deal with on a daily with brands.
Yeah.
What are the requirements to becoming an it person, it girl,
Why
it
would
boy?
you want to be an it boy or it girl?
Oh, people want to be it. Trust me.
Do
even
you want
now.
to be an it girl?
Babe, I created it.
See, I knew it was something clever.
Well, I think that, I mean, looking at the entertainment industry, you know, every other year we have the it girl, and people look at it as who was more famous that year, who had more jobs, who did what, basically who was in our faces. But for me, how I would describe an it, you know, girl or guy is somebody that they found their purpose, you know. You don't have to really sell it to me that you are this great artist. Like at that moment, whether I'm listening to radio or I'm watching you on TV, I connect with you as, you know, just a member of that audience. And I know that, you know what, I might not even like this person, you know, generally. But right now, you can't take away from the fact that, you know, this person, it's their time.
You're right,
you know,
man.
you know when
right.
it's someone's time, you know.
I disagree with that. I think the whole concept, as you defined it, of it boy or girl, is just somebody who's really good at marketing the very little that they do.
No.
No.
We are all
No,
not
Joe.
that busy.
No.
I'm telling
No,
you,
Joe.
Maps was an it boy.
No,
And what was he doing?
Joe.
What did Maps do?
No, Joe.
Besides hit up red carpets
No.
and put it on
No.
Instagram
Maps,
and put it in the
with
magazines.
all due respect,
Shout out to Maps. I love you, but you know.
Yeah, Maps,
You
Maps
know.
knows that I love him, and
Yeah.
and he's great. You know, he's dating my girlfriend. You know,
Who's he dating?
My girlfriend. You know
Namzam.
what? Look,
Okay. Really?
but what I'm trying to say is, Maps for me.
Is she off the table? Okay, go ahead, continue.
Maps
yeah?
for me is a well-manufactured brand. There are
Manufactured.
There are brands that are manufactured, so when they step up in front of cameras for their Instagram and everything, they look put
Exactly.
together. But meet him on a Sunday, on a normal day.
But that's not what we're asking.
That ain't Maps.
The thing is this, there's a perception that he does, I mean, he's clearly marketing himself. It's a,
But that
it's
is
a
a
classic.
but that's not it.
But that's what
No.
it is.
I
It's
feel
not,
Like, I
it's
feel like
not.
we can bring it back to, I mean, today consumers are not, you know, stupid anymore. There's so many, you know, just from the Instagrams, the social medias. I've had a lot of people in discussions like this off camera that say, but why is Maps famous?
Yes.
You know, people like, so yes.
No, but they still ask me why I'm famous. That's got nothing to do with the conversation, though, as well.
But can I answer that? Maps is better at marketing the little that he does, whereas you do so much that you don't even have the time to tell people what you're doing.
No, because he's manufactured. When you're manufactured, the job is to get yourself out there, you know?
Kanye's gonna trend today.
No!
Maleh, what do you
no,
think?
It's education. It's education.
You know what it is the platforms have changed. As she says, it's a different kind of world that we're living in. Technology is so advanced. Artists have the power to... Anybody can be a brand, technically speaking, whether you're talented or not.
Timothy, we're married.
Yeah, be careful.
I'm really enjoying this.
No, so I think it depends on the personality and really what it is you're trying to achieve. With me, I get criticized all the time for not being as present as people would expect an artist like me to be, you know, and it's perhaps my own approach to how I wish to, you know,
But also, you're
establish
not
the
trying to be an
brand.
it
But if
girl.
I just see your selfies every day would kill my Maleh.
If doing
Are you
what?
saying she's got whack selfies?
No, that I don't.
She just
she's
said
the
you
type
have
of
wax
brand.
selfies.
No, she's the type of brand that I don't see her taking pictures of her lunch,
I
showing
think
me
this
what
is the
she's wearing
thing. I
today.
think it's a
It would
person.
kill
For
her
me-
music for me because music comes with how you see a person and how you love it. So if you had to start doing that, it would kill Maleh for me.
I think for me it's important that I get to a point where if I engage obviously more, which is where I'm going to now, if I engage on these platforms, what am I saying really? Is it impactful? Am I, you know, what you say means something, and if you're reaching thousands and millions,
Well,
you know.
I'll need
I
Tim
think
here
it's
before
important.
we shift the conversation. Tim, what do you think about what you just heard?
Imagine we had a bowl of bananas on the table. Would you be able to identify which one is the most ripe? The one that has matured to a point where it's ready.
Yeah.
So there's two dimensions to this conversation. The first dimension is, you know, there are people who make it to a space where they become sort of it or the buzz because they're just ready and they're ripe. They've had enough experience. They've got enough stuff in place. They've matured to a place where they're ready and they're ripe. And then there are the manufactured version who've got the right team around them and so forth. So we need to be critical. We need to be careful that we put the two different dimensions together.
Yeah. I mean, we were just having this conversation off while you guys were at break, and a good example that we used was Vusinova and Nati. Yes,
You're gonna go there? Okay,
yeah, I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
go
You go
there.
there. You go
You
there,
know,
girl.
and that's bringing it back to.
Yeah, be careful.
I love both of them. You know, I really love. I think that he's one of the most Vusi, that is one of the most underrated artists. You know, male vocalists in the country. But again, it comes back to, as Tim is saying, you know, the branding. For me, I felt like Vusi, you have
new
all the
album.
talent. We'll get there. You have all the talent in the world, but we just never got to a point where, you know, you got the whole country talking. There was something missing. You were never the it guy. Then the push came when your new label mate, Nati, out of nowhere. Nutty's not even a manufactured, you know, he's not a product they put him in studio and said, here you go, release an album. You know, there was so much, it was just genuine. You know, he is not even ready for this fame thing and all of that. But everybody knew 2015 was his year. You know, he had that it factor, and effortlessly so. You know, you listened to his music and you just identified, and his story was real. And for me, at that moment, that was, you know, he's the it guy. We were all invited to his party at the Summers this year. It was his year, and you can't stop that.
The beautiful thing about that as well, you making that analogy, is that the whole it thing, it's about being ready, and people don't know he had to go to jail twice. You know, no one would be willing to do that to have the year that he had. And so when you're competing with people like that, you're often competing with them in the moment of their success, but you would never really want to walk in their shoes.
You don't know what they've been through to get to that point.
But that's it. That's what makes it.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about competition.
Let's talk about competition.
Yeah, who do you see as your greatest competition? I mean, you're in business, you're an author, you're in a weird space of
there are not many
consulting, and you're a musician.
I mean, you know, for me, competition is inspiring. I mean, the greatest competition I've ever seen was when Michelangelo and Da Vinci were tasked to create a battle scene, but they never finished it. But they were so inspired because Da Vinci felt like this dude, young and upstart, Michelangelo is coming on the scene. And Da Vinci went and created and finished the Mona Lisa by being inspired by Michelangelo, and Michelangelo finished the Sistine Chapel. Competition is beautiful.
It is.
So let's not see it as negative. Let's be clear that if somebody's out there trying to beat your show, that's a beautiful thing. It makes you step up a bit. So when I see people like Malcolm Gladwell writing international best-selling books, I'm looking at it and going, okay, all right, I see you, I see you. And, you know, and I want to step up and I want to, you know, refine my game. I want to refine my game. So if you know, your competition, you look at someone like Manewa or whatever, does she inspire you to try to beat her?
Yeah, I mean, you know, absolutely how I look at competition is exactly that. You're never going to find another Manewa, you're never going to find another Maleh, you're never going to find another Thandiso Mazwai, Lira for that matter. You know, these are spirit beings going through processes where they have to be the best version of themselves, you know? So for someone to be the best version of themselves while you're working on it, and to see that is inspiring. I love to see women in the industry who do amazing things and put on big concerts and, you know.
She doesn't, do you, or you don't?
Do you know what I mean? No, I do. No, the thing is, I have a different take on what you're saying.
Go ahead, get it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, let's trend.
Do not put on this color.
Please, let's go.
No, my feeling is once you see anything as competition, people need to understand that for it to affect you so much that it gives you sleepless nights, it's a sign that you are capable of doing it. Because for you to identify it means it's in you. Anything you take note of is because you know it. Nothing happens around you that affects you and it's not planted in you. So if you hear a song and you're like, yo, that song, I wish it was mine. It means you can actually do that.
Do you think Beyonce feels like that about Rihanna?
Of course, because Beyonce knows she can be that loose, but because she's built this thing, she knows inside her she's got that side. So if anything affects you, it's not that it's bad for you or you're a bad person. It means you have that capability, and it's the inner you saying to you, but dude, we're here. This is us. She's one of us. And that's why you hate it so much, because you've been sleeping on it. You know what I'm saying?
Let me say this. I worry about artists like you at times, and here's why. Because you're taking the organic route. You're the fruit on the table that goes, I want it to happen naturally. I'm not necessarily going to go.
I'm not in a rush for it.
I'm not in a rush.
And you're the same.
Wait, I'm very similar, but it's a different, because artists, at the end of the day, when True Love is sitting there, or these magazines sitting there going, who are we going to put on the cover? Oftentimes they do go to social media and they look and see how active you are.
And hence I said earlier, that's where I am at now. But 2 years ago, when I was just coming onto the scene and trying to introduce Maleh and trying to figure out who Maleh was, my focus and my shift was on the art form. So I felt like I had to separate myself.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean?
I respect that more than the market. I'm sorry.
I had to separate myself from.
I don't respect the market.
From the platforms that have so much influence and so much energy. For me,
I completely get
the
you.
type
What
of
I'm saying
person
is,
I am.
I want you to stay like that. I don't want you worrying about
No, I
Twitter
get-
and social
yeah.
media and stuff and all
Yeah.
that marketing. But having the right team around you is really important.
At the end of the day,
so
you
you
would
can
still
focus.
need
So you
somebody
can
like
focus.
me. You would.
I saw that coming.
We'll carry on later. We'll carry on later. Hold that thought. We'll hold on that thought. We'll carry on later on after the break. Hashtag The Weekend Edition. Facebook, The Weekend Edition. Twitter, Instagram, The Weekend on 3.
And blame everything on her.
No, and then I'll just get PR
She's
agent to
at
fix
Khanyi
it.
Mbau.
No, it's actually
Yeah.
Mbau Reload. You don't even know the
yeah.
handles. See you after the break.
I don't know social media. I don't even know. Why am I here? Welcome back, Weekend Edition. It is, and we're in the kitchen again with the lovely Sue Ellen.
I wish people saw what you just did before we got back.
Why did I look very camp and gay?
I can run again.
I can run again.
No, I have a rib injury, so I haven't been running because of it. So when you can't touch your ribs without looking a little.
That's where the missus came from.
Yeah,
huh?
exactly.
I'm gonna get this on while
All
you
right,
do
let me
that.
get my macho on. So, what are we making here in the kitchen?
We're doing milk tarts, Joe.
Yeah, we're doing milk tarts.
We're doing milk tarts.
Yeah.
Very South African,
Isn't
as we know.
Isn't the milk tart like a mini cheesecake?
But what's the theme
It's
for
not.
today?
It's not. Okay, so the theme is just everything sweet.
It's a sweet Sunday.
Sweet like me and you.
Sweet Sunday.
Sweet
So our
Sundays.
Sunday meal is.
Our Sunday meal is all sweet.
Yeah,
What
it's
does
a
he want to
sweet
say?
Sunday.
What does he want to say?
I don't know. So
Okay,
it means
cool.
you're also sweet, Mr. Push.
Yeah. All right.
So
No comment. Let's keep cooking.
let's keep cooking. So we're gonna melt our butter
In milk.
in our milk, and that's gonna come to a boil.
How much milk was that, by the way?
So that was 4 cups of milk.
Okay.
And then obviously all of the recipes on our Facebook page, so that
Yes.
guys can check that out. And then our rest of our ingredients pretty simple: eggs, flour, corn flour, and sugar, which we're going to get just mixed together. So that is
Can I
not
just
boiling
help you
yet.
clean up there?
Oh, you love doing that, hey? I know, she's
OCD,
amazing.
right?
Is she OCD?
It just makes it better.
So I'm just gonna give this a bit of a beat
Okay.
and then add the remaining ingredients. Is that, are we getting there? We're
It's
getting
melting
there.
a little bit. Yeah, slowly but surely. We're
Sugar.
not all the way there.
Normal sugar or custard sugar?
This is normal sugar. Because we're gonna put it into that heated, hot liquid.
Yes.
It's gonna melt. And then our flour.
So there's no difference between like icing sugar, caster sugar, regular sugar. Are they really like?
Well, yes.
There is a difference.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
So-
I thought it's just the
Okay, so if
finarity
It's finer.
of
You know
the
what, if you-
granularity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Listen
Is that
to
the only
you
difference?
Turning
I'm trying.
like terminology of sugar.
So that, you know what we're saying about putting those biscuits in a food processor.
Yeah.
If you don't have caster sugar at home, you've got lots of white sugar, and the recipe calls for caster sugar. Just you can actually
Blitz.
finely blitz it
And
yourself
powderize it and make your own icing
powderize it,
sugar.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So yeah, so there's no difference.
So there's no
It's all the same thing. I could use it in
It's
my
the
tea,
texture.
for instance. Because there are times when I run out of tea, I mean sugar, and then I.
You can use caster sugar,
Can
Joe.
you?
You'll be
Okay,
fine.
cool.
yes.
I thought that was a bad thing.
Just remember, it's finer, so use less.
Oh,
Does that
right,
make
right.
sense?
Yes.
So this, I just want to get this to a paste. Are we winning?
Yeah,
we're winning.
we are fully melted here.
I've just got to get that to come up to a little bit of a boil.
Okay.
And then what we do is we actually turn the heat off, and then we add this mixture to our milk and
All right,
our
so 2 eggs in there,
2
powdered
eggs.
sugar.
Our sugar, our corn flour, which is our
Corn flour,
thickening,
sorry, yeah, okay.
and then we're gonna leave the essences until the end. So this one we've got vanilla essence and almond essence.
Right.
The almond essence you don't have to add, but I grew up in a home where my mom makes milk tarts all the time. And that smell for me is just
It adds a
like...
certain je ne sais
And I mean,
quoi.
obviously it also flavors it a bit, but for me it
Yeah.
really is about that, the memories of growing up in a kitchen that was, a lot of baking happened in that kitchen.
Right,
And still
right.
happens in that kitchen.
Okay. So, you're taking me back to Ratatouille. You remember that movie?
Yes, the
And how
animated
you
one.
won, yeah. Tell us about this other project that you've got going called Chefs, or that you're a part of, called Chefs Who
Chefs Who
Share.
Share,
It sounds French.
yes.
Chefs Who Share, but it's actually Chefs Who Share, right?
Chefs Who Share.
Yeah.
And it's a very South African thing, actually. It's an
Right.
incredible concept, which was I think I think this is its 4th year. So it is Joe, don't bury yourself.
I got a cloth.
So it is a gala dinner. It's all about raising money for charity.
Okay.
And what's really incredible is we've got some of our top chefs from top restaurants in South Africa. They come together, they offer up their skills and their knowledge, and they cook at this gala dinner for one evening.
Right.
We've also got incredible artists who donate pieces that then get auctioned off.
Yeah. Wow.
And 100% of the proceeds of that evening goes to various charities.
So it's different charities within...
It's different charities within that would fall under the umbrella, and the creator and co-founder of that event would then, distribute it depending on who needs the cash. I think to date it's raised over 6 million rand over the last 3 years, which I think is pretty incredible.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Has been in Cape Town. They're moving it up to Joburg this year.
I haven't raised that much for myself.
Dude.
So when is the next one?
We're ready. So the next one is at the end of September. It's the 24th of September up in Joburg. I think it's at the City Hall this year.
Wow.
But I think what's really great for me about the
who eats
whole
the food?
concept. So who eats the food are
the attendees, right?
the attendees. So there are, I think it's 250 guests who then pay, and obviously the price of those tickets. And
is it like a table, or can you buy an individual?
You can buy a table, or you can buy an individual, and then the chefs would cook for groups of you. So one chef's not going to make 250 meals, they'd make 30, and then another chef pairing would make 30. So you may get to eat more. No, I'm not. No.
Why?
No. Because I am one of the Veggie Box ambassadors, so this is how I got involved, which I think is really cool. We as chefs, and we hear it all the time, and when I interview people, they throw around this word sustainability. And what is sustainability really? For me, and something I'm super passionate about, is another part of Chefs Who Share, is the Veggie Box initiative. So companies or individuals can sponsor veggie boxes that we then distribute into less privileged areas, into schools. We teach the kids about growing veggies. And then us as young chefs, so one of my friends, Jason Whitehead's also involved, we then go in and teach them how to cook with that produce.
Wow.
And that for me is what sustainability really is about. It's about let's plant, let's teach you how to plant, but then let's show you how to use this incredible
produce. So me and Khanyi can sponsor a box.
You can sponsor a box.
Right, okay. Or you two can sponsor a box for me.
Thank you, Joe.
No, Joe, thank you. Yay! Yay, I'm going to tell you.
Kanyi's rolling in the dough. You don't understand.
You do know you've got
it out there like that. I would get in so much trouble.
That's looking amazing. So I'm going to back on the heat. And this is going to thicken up. So that corn flour, so we've got the thickening agent.
Okay. And you just keep stirring.
And you just keep stirring.
Well, does this technically make it a roux?
Listen to
does it?
I mean, I don't know. Butter, corn flour?
Kind of. Geez, I'm gonna get into such trouble for that. But essentially, you kind of had a paste-like thing, and you added milk.
Yeah.
He just wanted to throw roux in there. That was it. So this is gonna eventually, as the heat starts to cook and the flour is cooked through, this will thicken up. And I mean, we know what that milk tart and that's so yes.
Okay, so it'll thicken up, and then I see that you've got the cups ready already.
I've got the cups ready already.
Now at home, I mean, how would you get these?
So at home,
do you make it? Do you?
You know what? These are. If you love making pastry, obviously you can make your own short crust pastry. But it's become so easy to buy these in the store, and the whole thing is about getting people to get into the kitchen without them being intimidated by things like, oh, it's a pastry recipe. No, I'm not going to do it. So you can. I mean, you've made what's the most important part yourself. You can buy these at most major retailers, which is great. They keep for quite a long time, and what's quite nice is, just before you use them, pop them in the oven to crisp them up and get them even more golden.
Because you get a little bit soft, right?
So when that's done and beautifully thickened, it's getting thick too. It's getting thick too. It's going to look like this, which I've popped into a piping bag just to make it a bit easier.
Yeah.
That looks refrigerated. Did you refrigerate it?
No. As this cools,
so it gets thick as that. Oh wow.
So you can do this the night before and pop it in the fridge until you're ready to serve.
Khanyi, this is getting so thick. Oh my goodness, it's starting to rise. It's rising.
Joe,
Team thick.
Can we take it off?
We can switch. Take off. Switch off the heat.
Yeah, it's rising.
Oh my goodness, I wasn't watching what I was doing.
Yeah, I saw.
Did you see that? And I'm actually going to fill all of these because I think we've got enough. And then I'm not done. I did say it was sweet sundae.
Yes.
We've also made some caramel, which I'm going to lash over the top of these little guys.
Wow, it is sweet sundae.
Sweet sundae.
It's a sweet sundae.
So is this the caramel?
That is our caramel.
How did you make this?
So that you
like peanut butter.
very slowly cook down milk and sugar, and you add baking soda. And when I say very slowly, sometimes it can take up to an hour and a half for your caramel to actually reach that point.
Yeah, that looks amazing. What is the difference between like a normal caramel and like a dolce?
You and your words today. Hey, you're just.
He's funny, yeah.
He's just
a dolce delish is a caramel.
From Argentina, or is it? It's South America, somewhere in South America, but why is it so unique and special to them? Do we know?
I don't think it's...
Yeah, I was just like, this is caramel.
I don't think it's unique and special. No, it's caramel. It's caramel. We all eat caramel. But it takes a long time. So I'm sure you guys do know that some people have started making store-bought versions because...
Right.
But I mean, I've quite...
No, you just got a little...
just got
you got some overhang
Thank
there.
you.
I know I'm so good looking, I'm distracting, but girl, you have to focus. You have to pay attention.
wait,
so distracted her today. I shouldn't even be here.
Hashtag the Weekend
know what to
Edition
say.
on
All of this
Facebook and
is distracting
Instagram.
her.
It is The Weekend on 3. And you can also talk to us via Facebook, which is The Weekend Edition. We'll see you after the break. I'm trying to bring Joe back because he's floating away. See you now. Come back.
It's a weekend. It's a weekend.
Welcome back. We're still at the soul of the apartment with Maleh. There's a big argument at the moment now with artists with being independent or being signed to a label. What's your take on this?
I think as a young artist, my perception was I would be discovered and I would, sign with a big major label, and that would be the end of it, and my dream would come true and everything would just happen around me, and I would just, and it would be smooth sailing. Having been in the industry now for as long as I have, the reality is it's a very different experience. The more prepared you are as a young artist, just with the concept of the fact that nobody really is going to put the kind of effort that is required to put you out there better than you putting you out there. Do you know what I mean?
So wait, hold on, Khanyi. Maleh, are you saying you would not sign with Mabala Noise?
And I believe, Joe, that it's about time artists got paid. I think it's not nice, the story of the broke artist and
Who would
how...
say no to that amount of money, right?
Tell him. I wonder.
But it's time. No, but it is time that artists got paid. If the deals were as good as what he's talking about,
Did you hear that, Joe?
then it's worth it. Then it's worth it to, maybe decrease your percentages and compromise on certain things, if that is the kind of investment that is going to be put into who you are as an artist. But if not, and at the end of the day, you put more effort, you spend more money, there's no financial backing in the way that you would have expected it to be. I don't know about the passion and how many, or if there are enough passionate people about music in the boardrooms and the spaces where decisions are being made about an artist and projects and that kind of thing. So go independent, man. I'm so excited about the movement of young people coming in and owning production companies, owning their work. Yeah, all power to the artists.
Yes, that's very nice, but it's also very scary because the financial implications of going independent are also hectic, Yeah,
no, I mean, any business that you venture into, entrepreneurship is just that. It is a risk.
It is.
People will tell you, that idea sounds a little bit dodgy. Are you sure? There's a market out there for it. But, you're the only person who has a good idea of the vision.
Yes.
You're the only one who has it really planted in you. And so you have a responsibility to, achieve what you are meant to. So I think it's silly that we'll work so hard and then give everything that we've worked on
to some guys,
to somebody else, and then expect that they're gonna pick it up and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
a little
quite
bit
difficult.
idealistic.
But now that South Africa is bridging the gap between ourselves and the world, a lot of artists are moving overseas. I mean, like your Paul 2Cs, your Trevor Noahs.
Yeah,
And we're getting a lot of recognition abroad as well in terms of our art and what we have to bring to the table, regardless whether it's music. I mean, with Black Coffee and Pete Diddy at the
Yeah.
moment. Do you have dreams of doing that by probably staying in the States, making it big in the States?
I think when I was, well, absolutely in terms of the music, you know, reaching all the corners of the world. Why not, hey? I think that is the legacy that you work towards leaving as an artist, and I think it's important that music travels like the wind. It
Yes.
goes like the wind. So, you know, when you least expect it, you know, you
Yeah.
could be on top charts somewhere in the US, you know.
That would be awesome.
When I was younger, I felt like that's what I wanted to do, and you know, I wanted to kind of, you know, crack markets that side. And I think also I thought a lot of things about the music, and I don't know. So now I don't know. Hey, the weather in Europe is so cold.
Yes.
You know, I went to Portugal the other time, and the sun didn't go down, and I was like, sure, no way.
When is it ending? When is it ending?
You know,
Yeah.
so I think it's lovely to be. I love home, and I of course the work that we do allows us to travel, and you see the world, and
Yes.
and that's fortunate and it's a blessing. But I think my roots are here or somewhere else in Africa, perhaps. Then, over periods of time, I could do somewhere else. But
You're cool
yeah,
here.
my heart is here.
Oh, that's awesome. One artist that you would love to collaborate with internationally, because I know every artist has that one person. I mean, for Alicia Keys, it was Stevie Wonder, and it came true. Who's that one person that if you could have a song with them or have them mentor you somehow, you would be made? You'd be like, this is it. I'm alive. I'm living.
I'm alive, I'm living.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look, there's a long list. You know, I missed Amel Leroux recently when she was here. I think it was last year, I think.
Yes.
And obviously she's just one of those singers and songwriters that is inspirational, you know, for me. And so I think working with Amel Leroux, and I love just what direction she's taken with her new album. So I think that would be epic for me.
Did you tell them all that I'd love
Well,
to?
it's so funny. A friend of mine was actually hosting her and her family. She come through with her family and showing them around different parts of Johannesburg. And it was, yeah, my friend come over. I was like, yeah, where you guys? I'm coming. And somehow it just didn't quite work out. And I met her husband, you know, and you know, I think that would be something interesting for me, and as a solo artist.
I think it's possible, but like your friends called you, let's also take a walk and try a different space. Let's get onto the Persian,
Oh, yeah?
because you're going to perform for us once again.
Oh, yeah? Oh, okay.
And what do we call the song?
This one says in Shona, Uchimsoro umuntu nekhandel khulu. Usithando sam, ongithandayo ongenza smatsatsa. So yeah. it's
Does
called
he have a
Chimsoro.
name though?
Chimsoro. Chimsoro.
Chimsoro. Samthanda Chimsoro.
Kodwa uthando lwakhe luyangishukumisa. Ungiphathisa okwesimatsatsa, ndithi ndinokutenda. Ungiphathisa okwesimatsatsa, ndithi ndinokupenda. Nomega ngajalo, nomenge na
conversation popping on social media. It's hashtag the weekend on, no, the weekend edition. Yeah, there we go, the weekend edition. And all that stuff that you see at the bottom. We'll be right back after this.
It's a weekend. It's a weekend.
All right, so last time Khanyi cut the conversation short, we decided to continue. And this time she's not gonna cut it short. Welcome back, weekend edition. Timothy Maurice, Allegro D. I wanna say Allegro D because that's your Twitter thing.
Yeah.
Sounds rich, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like wealthy.
Yeah, it makes you bigger than you really are. You're very
Yeah, a lot of people, when
demure
they meet me in person, they're like, is this Allegro, this person? And I'm like, no one else, just
There
me.
you go, B1.
Yeah.
And of course, Maleh. So we're gonna talk about a couple of things. First up is, okay, we're gonna play a game of Would You Rather, but right now I wanna talk about Nigeria versus South Africa. Big topic, right? South Africa has just surpassed Nigeria in GDP. So we are now the biggest economy on the continent.
Yes.
All right, but just because their currency is also dropped.
Sure.
So there's this tug of war between us, Nigeria, Egypt, etc. We're on top now yet again. But what can we learn from Nigeria? I mean, you're in music, and Nigerians are very competitive. You manage musicians.
I've worked with a lot of Nigerians.
That's right. So what can we learn from Nigerians?
Can I go first?
Yeah, go for it, man.
My first mentor was a guy named Ben back in the States. I think he was a nephrologist. He had supreme confidence in his lineage. And the one thing I adored and I appreciate that I learned from Ben was how he knew the value that his mom and his grandmom and his family lineage gave him.
Yeah.
He felt that where I come from makes me, sort of undergirds my power. And I really value that.
Right. So there's a lot of that cultural connection through the generations.
Yeah, just intergenerationally, he felt like my worth is not in the fact that I'm a nephrologist. My worth is not, it's where I come from is so valuable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you, Allegro, what do you think? You work with a lot of musicians, a lot of competition, and it seems like Nigeria is eating us for lunch.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I respect the hustle and the drive of Nigerians. You know, I was in Lagos for 2 weeks in 2013. And just from, you always hear it that it's overpopulated and they're hustlers and they're always working until you land at the airport and you're trying to get from the mainland to the island and some guy in the cab is trying to sell you plantain on the road as like, they are hustlers, you know, and they don't let, you know, a disadvantage, you know, circumstance or whatever it might be, just pull them back, you know.
You were saying something very interesting about how they kind of look at us as like, what's wrong with you guys? You have everything, but
Yeah, true.
I had one Nigerian artist we did PR for when he came to South Africa, and he said, I don't understand South African artists because you guys should be really in the forefront, leading the pack, you know, because you have all the resources, but you're comfortable. And he said, we're spoiled.
Yeah,
and I sat back and I thought, you know what, it's true, because they don't have everything. They come here to shoot music videos, you know, to get their work out there, to meet the channels and, you know, make sure that work keeps going and they become the brands that they want to be.
Yeah.
The South African artist is chilling. It'll take him 10 years to make, you know, to be on TV doing his hits and doing his thing.
Maleh, how do you feel about
You know?
that? That's a dig at South African artists across the board.
Oh my goodness.
Put some respect on your name.
Yeah, put some respect on your
It's
name.
true. I think you look at, because I was talking about my trip to Mozambique, and I was also taken aback that, you know, when you ask an artist where you can buy their album, they literally, you know, open a boot and there's their material. You know, they've invested to that extent that they sell, you know, and then of course, you know, they grow as they grow. But I don't know. I think maybe if you look at just also the history of this country and the promises that have been made to the people about, you know. Sorry, it's just, you know, people have an expectation of receiving in South Africa because the promise has been that, you know, we will provide and we will...
South Africans, you think, tend to wait for that
So there's
business
a lot of
person to come and give them the opportunity.
Into Mozambique, there is not one person sitting down doing nothing. So if you're selling sweets, you're selling sweets. If you're selling peanuts, you're selling peanuts, you know? Here, you walk into areas and people are sitting down and people are waiting for the job, you know? And there's so much of that.
I always get
attitude
frustrated
that I
with
think
musicians because sometimes you'll get a musician who has the most amazing piece of music, especially if you've kind of had some exposure around the world. And I'm like, why aren't you in Europe? Why are you not releasing? Why aren't you signed to a Canadian label? Why aren't you doing...
It's a South African problem.
Too laid back.
No, besides laid back, South Africans who have this mentality that you do half the work and something else will happen for you. There's this mentality that go to school, get your matric. Once you have your matric, they think the job's gonna come.
Happen.
Go to university, get your doctorate, it's gonna come. Record your album, it's gonna come.
Yeah.
There's this thing in our minds that wait for Mandela to come out and then the freedom, the money, the wealth is gonna come. Wait for the ANC to win, it's gonna come. You know what I'm saying? There's always this thing that do half and it's gonna, no, nobody
for the
cares.
World
You
Cup.
need to do it yourself.
Again, this thing is changing fast.
It's the truth.
But it is changing.
Yeah,
though,
you had a
Khanyi.
good point about history.
Yeah, let me tell you, when you start looking at how generations impact each other, so I agree on some level that's definitely the case, but ultimately you have this sort of shift happening, and this shift is happening gradually to a point where the next generation and the generation after that, you're going to see South Africa continue to take its rightful place in the world. I mean, you're seeing it happen slowly, but it's like a child. When you look at a child and you see it every day, you don't necessarily see the growth.
Right. Of course.
I've been very fortunate to be able to go in and out of the country quite a bit, and I'm seeing this thing happen, and I think we do need to celebrate a bit more that it is happening.
No, it is happening, but just to go with that whole, why is Nigeria saying to us, you guys should be in the forefront. That was the problem, that we had this thing that just get a matric and you'll see. Just wait, and that's the problem that we've had in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's flip it a little bit, have a little bit of fun. Would you rather is the game, and Kanye's got the first question. Would you rather?
No, this is to women. Would you rather have your panty lines showing the whole day or have red lipstick on your lips?
Lipstick.
Instead of a panty line, right?
Ew, I hate
Me and Tim don't understand. We were like,
Yeah. Would you rather have lipstick on your teeth or would you have a panty liner on tight pants? Lipstick, the whole day.
Obvious.
Firstly, what's a panty liner?
You know when you're wearing a full panty instead of a G-string and you can see the type of panty I'm wearing?
So you can see through the...
Oh, that is just...
How is that gross?
Oh, it affects
The
us
whole
as women.
day?
The whole day?
Like,
You got those
no.
lines the whole day? Kill me.
And they shift.
Shoot me.
We don't notice that, to be honest.
They know it's a bloomus, not a G-string. It's a bloomus.
My woman always asks me, like, is it showing da-da-da, like when she's dressing, and I'm like...
Nobody wants to see a
But
bloomus.
why? Who cares? Yeah.
No, we don't want to see a bloomus.
All right, let's flip it up. Back to, we spoke about this off camera. Black tax. So I saw a video of Minnie buying her mother, or giving her mother a car, BMW, right? And then I started thinking about myself, like, what did I do? Did I ever do? And I did help my mom.
Search ourselves.
I did help my mom buy a car, but I also helped pay for my siblings' school and stuff like that. So I want to ask you guys, would you rather buy your mom a car or help a sibling through school?
Wow.
Ooh.
How about we? Some of us are doing
You have
both.
to pick one. You have to pick one. Huh?
I guess I'd
We're doing
buy
it all,
my
I'm
mom
sure.
A car.
Yeah, she's watching
I'm
the show
last
right now,
of,
ain't she?
of 4. So there's no one else.
there's
Maybe
no one
then
else
I'd go
to-
down to my nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
But I'm the last one, so maybe a little gift to say, hey,
Thank you.
we're here now, and because of you. So yeah, I think I'd do that.
And you trying to stay out of it?
I started so early in the industry, so I started to earn money quite early. And it was so nice as an 18-year-old to be able to give, and assist to where you could, So, I mean, for me, I have a little sister, I suppose, and education is important, I suppose.
Yeah.
It'll go your sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, black tax is real. What about you?
I would definitely take my brother or sister to school so they could relieve me
But you
of
can't
my
compare the two,
situation.
though.
But I would rather give skill to my younger brother or sister because my mom essentially has had an opportunity to become who she is today. So
then
I'd
they'll
rather,
buy her the car.
yes, and some will probably put money together and get her a car. But I would rather further the family name and create people that are educated and strong than buying a car with the last piece of money I have, which is in a month gonna get another version of the car, and then it's pointless.
All right, this next question is probably going to reveal your age. Big city living or country living?
Oof.
Wow.
Wow.
Huh?
Country living.
Country
Yeah.
living.
I
You're
love-
26.
I
boring,
know,
Joe.
I know. Boring.
She's
really.
boring. You.
Whatever.
She bakes on a Friday. On a Friday, she bakes.
I love, you know, country living, and I think that one day I'll just, you know, buy a farm, build a house very far away from the city. Whatever.
about
I
time
love
you tell us the
hustling.
truth.
Tim has a house in the country. Like, you're in Stellenbosch right now.
You know, but I love hustling in the cities, but I just want to, you know, for recreation purposes, and just, I love just taking, you know, a step back away outside of Joburg or whatever. You know, even if it means coming to Cape Town and just chilling by the beach for some time. You don't have that in Joburg. You're always on the go and working, and I think...
But there's a dam. What's that dam?
Leave us. It's all dirty. All the dams are green.
No, no.
All of them, they're green.
So definitely country.
All right, so Tim, you?
So, you know the thing I like about cities? You know, I think, you know, I designed this watch about nature bathing, the idea of nature. Nature does have an amazing impact on you. But the thing about cities is that it's the hub of influencing the world. It's where things come together to influence the world. And we're in a space, on this continent, we need to be moving things. I'm not sure we have the luxury to be chilling in the middle of
In the country.
rural area. Not yet.
Sometimes.
No,
Tim can move he can move the continent. I'll be in the country
Listen,
chilling.
he's got a bike, so he doesn't look for parking. He doesn't have the problems in the city. That's why he likes the city.
Exactly. The noise, this. It's good for hustling
Do
and
you enjoy
working,
riding
but
bike?
rest.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no problem. Are you going to take me for a ride?
We'll
Oh,
talk.
boy.
Okay,
But we
cool.
need to get to
No,
more.
I mean, I come from the country. You know,
So you're
like,
good. You're good.
So like I'm enjoying my Johannesburg experience. You know, I'm enjoying the big city life. And
I've got a theory about Joburg. I think that the people in Joburg are crazy
Because he says the air is dirty.
Yeah, there's
the mo-
uranium dust
and,
in
and,
the air.
and yeah, and the altitude is wrong. No, that's why we're so crazy.
It's wrong.
Yeah,
it's
he's got a
wrong.
philosophy on this whole
People,
thing.
we're not mountain people. You are in the mountains. You are... All right. Let's change it up. Would you rather be married or single?
I am
You are married.
Yes.
Cool. So that...
And I would never turn back.
There you go. What is
The face
what
of
is the
marriage.
difference? What's so special about
I think
marriage?
it's exciting when you find, after all that you go through, somebody who, when they look at you, sees their wife and their partner for life, and
Right.
you guys are determined and committed to growing and helping each other through life. So, I mean, I appreciate that union and
Wow.
that approach to living.
And
I
she was like
I have
talking down to me when she said that. It was a bit lecturish.
Yeah, you.
Like, why are you? Yeah.
You're still not there.
Man, well, look, we're all single here, all right? So you can talk down to everybody, not just me. What about you?
I'm single for now.
Wow.
Yeah, for now I'm
Straightforward.
enjoying. Yeah, you know, I love
that
that
way.
that independence. I can do what I want, wherever. I don't have like the second opinion. This, you know, and for me, it's difficult being in a relationship with somebody. I've tried. You're an entrepreneur. You work
They get
weird
intimidated?
hours. They do, and I'm so sick
And you're
tired
working
of
with
that.
big names,
You know?
and you're sitting at the table with people like Khanyi,
No,
and then you have to
she
go
doesn't
home
like going out.
to a guy who works at a call
She
center.
bakes
It's always,
and
are you
he's
sure?
intimidated.
It's always, are you sure it's just
You
business?
boring guys.
I think the client might, or you know, the events and things like that. It gets to somebody who works a 9 to 5, and they don't
What?
and they don't understand, you know. And
He's
then,
coming for dinner.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to compromise at this
Yeah.
point in my life for somebody else to be comfortable. So for now, I'm good, you know, single, but it's not like I don't want to date or anything. But marriage, a little.
Later.
I'll meet the
At
person.
15, you can't be married.
She can't be married at 15.
I'm 26.
You're 50. Your industry age is 15.
Okay, I'll take this.
exactly.
You should take your time before you start dating.
Yeah.
And what about you, Tim?
I think being married and being single both are gifts, and I think everyone has a different gifts. You know, everyone should be to be able to celebrate.
Would you rather? You cannot duck and dive.
He's in a
Tim.
relationship.
No, he can't duck and dive. Like Tim can't come here
Answer us
and,
because we
and,
need
and
to
pull
go.
the snake maneuver. No,
that's
pick,
not a snake
pick something.
maneuver.
These ladies have
Single
more
or
balls
married?
than you.
Single or married?
I think being married is an amazing thing. I think it's an amazing thing.
So you'd like to be married?
If you had a choice, you'd rather be married.
If
Would you rather be married?
if I had a choice, I'd like to fuse the two and figure out how to be.
Listen, after the break, we carry on with more cooking and having fun. That is an episode of Sunday's edition of the weekend edition of the Roundtable. So after the break, keep the conversation going. Married or single? Hashtag the weekend edition, Facebook weekend edition, Twitter, Instagram, the weekend on 3, as
And
it is underneath.
At Timothy Maurice, spelled Maurice.
See you after the break. Married or single?
Married is fine.
Weekend.
Welcome back to the Weekend Edition. We're having some crazy conversations off air, which you don't want to know about. But we were talking about spices, right?
We were talking
And
about
herbs. And their medical, medicinal
and some
benefits.
of them are good for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
we were talking about an anti-inflammatory. So anyways, what are we making? We're gonna whip up, is this a dessert, a lunch?
It is, because we're still keeping it sweet.
Okay.
But interestingly enough, it's usually something that's savory. So we are doing chocolate samosas.
Ooh, samosas. Before we start, I want to ask Timothy, do you know where samosas come from?
Oh gosh,
Yes.
Where do they come from?
It's Indian, right?
No, it's
Let's talk about it.
So they're actually Middle Eastern. And it's, I mean, it was so weird because it's been around since 995. I've got to be so careful to not add a one. Yeah, they've been around forever and went through Asia
They were introduced to Asia,
they were introduced to India via Asia. It was just a traveler in like the 14th century.
But you wouldn't
and that's
say it's
when they
main
ended up in
Indian
India.
dish. Like, you don't go to India and get samosas, right?
No, but apparently the Indian royalty back then used to do these tiny little pies with mints and spices and things. So when this Middle Eastern via Asia concoction came to India, they then obviously filled it the same way they would fill their little pies, and it was served to royalty. So that's the
So we're about to have a royal dish.
You're about to have a royal dish, but it's a little bit different.
So Tim has never been in the kitchen. That's why I have him here. Tim, why don't you come this side next to the hot stove?
Oh yeah, it is hot, so be careful.
And
Here we go.
So what we're going to do, you can use what we've actually used. You can buy spring roll pastry already pre-cut. Alternatively,
Spring roll pastry.
We're using spring roll pastry that we've cut. I mean, you can actually buy samosa pastry. So whichever one you find, they will work equally as
Good,
well.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So then we're going to cut it.
Okay.
And the most important thing about a samosa is just making sure the edges are always folded in. So we're going to do this. We're going to try and do this really neatly.
Because you don't want air in it, right?
Well, we don't want the chocolate to leak out when we fry it.
That's all the flavor.
So we're going to fold. I'm shaking.
Is Timothy making you nervous?
Timothy's
Sorry
making
about
me
that. Sorry
nervous.
about that. She's trembling. Sorry about
I'm
that.
nervous.
Okay.
I was gonna say a hot man in the kitchen. Then I was like, sorry, because you're always with me. I love you. I love you. I
She's
love you.
actually like, Tim, what is it?
I'm so sorry.
There's the brain power. I had no idea, Tim. Wow.
You never do that to me.
No, I never.
You never do that to me.
She's training me. She's
Okay, so
worried.
this is what I'm saying. Make sure that all of your corners are wrapped over and tucked in, and that we've got no open edges.
So it's like a little triangle.
Perfect little triangles. We're going to drop this into hot oil.
I want Tim to do it. That's why I have him there.
Okay.
But let me show you, Tim. There's lots of work for you to do.
I want to see if Tim can do one, though.
Okay, so I think you start
He's never,
here.
like, he doesn't know how to cook. So this is important for
Tim,
him.
is this true?
Look, I can make.
No, it does the show.
I'm okay.
You're okay.
I can-
So let's see your
Let's see what
samosa-
happens.
Your
Okay.
samosa folding skills.
Here we go.
So, yeah, don't be scared, Tim.
Here we go.
How does it feel?
All right. Can I use the white chocolate?
And you may use the white chocolate with pleasure.
All right. Here we go. I'm gonna take a couple pieces. Joe, I know you were thinking I was gonna take the one piece.
I've already stolen some chocolate, by the way.
Okay, cool.
All right, that's enough, Tim.
That's enough, Tim. Like,
come
Tim,
on.
Tim.
Wait. Okay, here we go.
All right.
So, Joe, what you have to
I don't
do?
know how you're gonna fold it because you got multiple.
No, he's
you got-
teaching you, Joe. Listen.
You can't let the chocolate show.
Okay.
You see?
That's a big triangle.
Okay.
All right. Is it a good idea to have air pockets in there, Sue-Ann?
Look, ideally with the samosa, you want it to be airtight, but your chocolate's going to melt and fill those gaps. So you're okay when you're working with chocolate to have a couple of them.
You didn't even brush it with the
This is
milk.
serious.
It's not even a triangle.
Let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm doing the anti-milk. I'm doing the anti-milk
That is
version.
the baggiest,
It's the bag.
loosest.
There was no strategy to that at all.
Tim, that is horrible.
But Tim, it's horrible.
This is light version.
Shame.
This is the light
Like
version.
he's trying, you know what I mean?
I think he's now nervous.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, here we
We
go.
swap roles.
All right, now
Guys,
pop it in there,
you guys
Tim.
can judge for yourself. This looks pretty. Terrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So receiving.
It's hot in there, Tim. There you go.
Let's go.
So we'll save the one for Tim. So
Let's go.
And then pop some of the others in there
and
as
we're going
well.
to pop some of the dark chocolate ones in. So use whichever chocolate you like the most.
Okay, let's do it.
White or dark.
Look at how he throws it in the
Speaking of
I know
chocolate.
did you see? He's like, I can do this. Okay,
You
that's
see the way
enough.
she's looking at you? Like, that's the part that's intriguing me. Her.
Just a little side note. If you put too many of the samosas in your pot
What's going on there? What's with guys?
at one time, it could be... Joe, do you want to come look in the pot?
No, I don't. I'm quite cool right here.
Let me see.
Maybe you should leave them.
But I mean, that really is as simple as... Are you just leaving us alone in the kitchen?
No, talk to Tim. Go ahead, explain to him what's happening.
Forget about that. Let's see.
So,
So mine is a little bit
do you know what?
dilapidated.
I must actually say, though, that looks quite close to the original Middle Eastern ones that
Yeah,
fold up on the
authentic
side.
version. So mine is
Looks
authentic.
very
Joe.
authentic.
Mine is-
So these are starting to get brown.
Right.
I'm gonna just pop them under the oil a little bit longer.
All
We
right.
want them to be golden.
Cool. While they're cooking, Tim, you know, he's quite a flirt, but he's also complimentary in his flirting or flirtatiousness. You complimented Maleh as well earlier on, yeah.
Our tone is incredible. Our tone is beautiful. But how, you know, here's what I want to know, Joe.
And you say this because you obviously are in a relationship with a musician,
Yes,
so you know
yes.
a lot about music and singing and stuff. And so you've got two singers standing
my
there.
partner has taught me about tone, to pay attention to the details of tone. Like, no matter how good you are technically.
Yeah,
So when I was watching you, and I'm literally, your tone was like massaging me.
Oh,
Like literally, that's how I felt.
But what do you mean by tone, though? Like, explain that to
Like-
people. Like, if I don't have a good ear,
Well, the texture of your voice, really, and I think what you were saying was it's important for an artist's tone to stand out, and that's really how you
Yeah,
you get noticed.
and no matter
so.
what, branding can help that. If you don't have it, so you're born with
and you
that.
can't even learn a tone.
Exactly. Oh wow.
Well, I
you
mean,
gonna put
you listen to. I've listened to other artists who I feel
Tim,
have a tone
just lift that plate up
who I
and bring it
feel
over
have a
here while
tone
you
that's
guys.
close to mine and have kind of guided me in terms of what I know my voice is capable of, and when I listen to them sing, I take tips from how to express.
So who has better tone,
vocal.
Beyonce or
Rihanna.
Rihanna?
Why is it always about those?
Because that is the fight.
Yeah, that's the fight. That is the.
But who has a better tone?
I mean, for me, I grew up listening to Destiny's Child, so I am a
We didn't
Beyonce
ask you
baby.
who's
and
a
a
fan
friend.
of. Who has the best tone?
I'll
I
answer
think
that. for her. I think
Beyonce is a better
Guys,
singer.
Rihanna.
It's Rihanna.
Rihanna's got a better tone.
Rihanna has a better tone, sorry.
Rihanna has a better
You guys
tone.
are
I feel like if you
No,
sang
guys.
Rihanna, it's the type of music you also like.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
and for
tone.
me, they wouldn't be
Beyonce
able
can
to
hit the
sing the
notes,
same
but
song.
Rihanna has the tone, though.
Beyonce, Beehive.
She refuses. She's an Usher fan. She's like, just Usher, Beyonce her whole life. You can't have intelligent conversations with some people, Tim. So, let's just get back to these samosas. What's going on?
I'm so sorry, guys. Like, honestly, it's that t-shirt.
I'm so happy to stay out of this conversation. I know. Let me just make some more slips. So we just want these to be beautiful and golden. So we're going to start, onto some kitchen towels, so it drains the excess oil, and then we're going to pop them onto our board, and we're just going to continue making a big pile of these. And
yours, though.
My important is to look. Mine is a little.
Original samosas.
Mine is like.
yours is beautiful.
But just hang on, guys. Original samosas are not supposed to be pretty and elegant looking. It's, if you look at what they look like originally, they're not.
Oh yeah.
So the uglier the better, actually,
They
right?
kind of almost look a little bit like fried wontons, the original
Yeah.
ones, where they curl up at the edges.
Wait, mine is the only original.
Yours is the only. You've
So
done a
his
great
is
job.
actually the best.
It's
Who wants
actually
to have mine?
Looking so proud of yourself.
What am I
So we're going to carry on
Right
making
there.
these, and then I love to serve these just with a bowl of vanilla ice cream. So you just dip in this hot samosa, which is going to ooze out chocolate, ice cream, happiness, pretty much. Well, for me, who doesn't like chocolate?
And you would have this as a dessert, or?
I would have this as a dessert. It's also something really different to serve if you've got, like, if people are coming around for tea.
Yeah.
We don't always have to have cake. We can have chocolate samosas and ice cream, which I think is quite nice. So a little bit different for your ladies' tea party.
Would you make this for a first date?
You would. I know you.
You see, I immediately have images of biting into this oozy chocolate
what I'm
thing with
saying,
chocolate
like-
falling down my face. I don't know if it's...
not a
And then you have to clean her up,
good.
like your chin, baby, your chin,
Could be. Yes, yes. Yes.
All right.
I'm going to stick with the yes.
All right, so if you guys want to carry on with the conversation, to let us know, first date, what would you serve? Please let me know on The Weekend Edition. And on Facebook, it's The Weekend Edition. Twitter, Instagram, The Weekend on 3. See you after the break. And Joe must lose that shirt.
Welcome back. Final segment, Weekend Edition. You're gonna perform one final song for us, right?
Yes.
This is a spread thanks to Timothy and Sue-Ann.
Yeah.
It's just
amazing.
desserts on a Sunday. Yeah, exactly. So did you guys have a good time?
I did. Amazing. Thank you very much.
Did you expect, because you were mocking me, like he literally was making fun of me for doing this show. Now that you're here, do you have a different perspective?
It's a great food show. I really enjoy it.
Food show. Did you just say food show?
No, it's a beautiful food show. It's a beautiful, I mean, you know,
Food
it's like
segments.
it's perfect for the weekend.
You know what? He's never had this much branding for his book.
Yeah,
and he's still talking, so, you know, we're gonna let's see, how do you like that now? But yeah, guys, thanks for coming.
But before we say thank you, I mean, I believe that you did a Draw My Life little part for us. So I think let's check out what Maleh did for Draw My Life.
Hi, this is Maleh, and this is Draw My Life. For me, it all began in the mountain kingdom. Born at sunrise, a soul would be bound to the sounds of the caves. Paradise it was for me, blessed with a family that cherished, groomed, and guided me. It was love that would mold. One day, the secret sounds found me and carried me to the gardens where music lay. And sure enough, the winds would blow, urging me to fly. The melody would lead me a different way. With friends and music, the journey began. The world would hear and open their hearts. My voice soared the skies, and music combined us in love.
That was awesome, man. And now, to give us a final performance, here is Maleh performing Nje. We're gonna eat, man. You sing, girl.
Ngikuthanda unjalo je 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 ngikuthanda unje je 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 ngikuthanda unje je 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 ngikuthanda unje je 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 ngikuthanda unje iminyaka ihambile unginika lolu thando luyangeneza ngicweseke ngijabulile mangibona wena nhliziyo yami igcwala umamatheko ngempela ngikuthandile wena mangithi ngiyahamba ngingaya kuphi na lolu lwethu lushangathi izolo abanomona buphele sengikhethile sihlanganiso phezulu Ngikunika isitembu salolo thando wena umabalane ngiyavuma thatha ngingowakho umhlaba uxakile nezinkinga nobuhlungu abuzibekile phansi kodwa wena uyinjabulo ya mangithi ngiyahamba ngingaya kuphi na lolu lwethu lushangathi izolo abanomona buphele sengikhethile
That's just how I like you, Ngikuthanda
Come and
unje.
join us, girl. We got some ice cream and dessert for you.
While we eat, I'd like to send you off to a great week ahead. Tomorrow's Monday. Start your week fresh. And remember that you can catch us same time, same place, right here, Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 to 9 a.m. Only on SABC3. Goodbye, and thank you to everyone.
Cheers.
You must try that.
It's ridiculous.